It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Before we get to the show, a quick reminder, just a few more days to take our Twit survey. We do this once a year as a way to get to know you better. It helps us sell advertising, helps us plan our programming. The last day is February 28th. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes. Just go to twit.tv/survey22. The 2022 survey is up and running, but just a few days left. If you haven't taken it, twit.tv/survey22, and thank you very much. This week on Twig, Stacy's got the week off. Matthew Ingram joins Aunt Pruitt, and Jeff Jarvis and I have got the new Samsung Galaxy S22. Is it a note in sheep's clothing? I'll give you my review. We'll talk about Pixel 7. Yes, there's leaks. Who's behind QAnon? And a whole lot more. This Week in Google is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is Twit.
This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 652, recorded Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. Stuck in the Jungle Gym. This Week in Google is brought to you by New Relic. That 9 p.m. call is just waiting to happen. Get New Relic before it does, and you can get access to the whole New Relic platform and 100 gigabytes of data free every month, forever. No credit card required. Sign up at newrelic.com/twig. And by Wealthfront. To start building your wealth, get your first $5,000 managed free for life. Go to wealthfront.com/twig. And by Imperfect Foods. Combating climate change feels big and overwhelming, but there's an easy and delicious way to make an impact. Imperfect Foods. Right now, Imperfect Foods is offering our listeners 20% off your first 4 orders when you go to imperfectfoods.com and use the promo code TWIG. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we cover the latest news from Google. Stacy has the week off. Matthew Ingram is in her place. Great to have him from the Columbia Journalism Review, CJR.org, Chief Digital Writer. Hello, Matthew.
Hi.
You got the good setup. I think we should have you on more often. You're not at the cottage.
Not right now, no.
Not at the lake.
Soon.
Probably a little snowy right now. You're in Ottawa?
No, north of Toronto.
North of Toronto. Did they get the truckers out? They got the truckers out, right?
They did.
You can get around. Everything's back to normal.
Yep.
Okay, good. Also with us, Jeff Jarvis, the man with his own jingle, which I'm not going to play because it's a minute and a half and it was from some other show. Pete Dominic's stand-up podcast. You can listen to that instead. Is it on Pete Dominic's stand-up podcast?
When I'm there, when I'm on.
Oh, they play it every time you show up?
Well, they played, no, it was just done. And so it was the first time they played it. It was just premiered. It had its world premiere this week.
Well, I don't want to be second, but Philip Brown did a great. I'll just play the first line.
Yeah, just the first.
Just to give you a sense of this incredible jingle.
We need more Jeff Jarvis. Get him back on, don't starve us.
There are more tortured rhymes to come.
It next rhymes with marvelous.
Yeah, let's see.
Which I thought was very
The
impressive.
things he says are just marvelous. Yeah, we need more Jeff Jarvis.
We got more Jeff Jarvis coming up right here.
Yeah, all you can take. All you can take. Hours of it. Right here. You
If
found
he
the
just
place.
thrown in Craig Newmark, we could have used that, but no. I've lost my
It's okay. You don't need to.
my announcements.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I've had my airtime. It's enough.
I've got Christmas cards. I got a lot of Christmas cards, but I don't have any announcement.
It's okay.
There it is.
It's all right.
The
That's
Leonard
what keeps
Tapp
going.
Professor
Go
for
to
Journalistic at the School of Jusabin at the City University in Hark. Thank you for being here, Mr. Jarvis.
Always a pleasure.
Also,
It's mine, if not yours.
it's my pleasure. Aunt Pruitt is here from Kakalaki in the North Carolina region.
Already.
Hello, Aunt Pruitt.
Boy.
Twit.tv/hop. Hands-on photography.
gents.
You're wearing a jacket. Look at you, you sharp dude, you.
It's cold here today.
That's why,
man.
yeah.
It's like 30-something degrees.
But
so
yeah.
I had to
But he's wearing a blazer. I mean, it's a nice. It's not
65 here.
Well,
I know
it's
we've
either that or I
swapped.
grab a sweatshirt that's got tiger paws all over it and stuff like
little
that.
Clemson frou-frou. I have in my hands the Galaxy S22 Ultra. Do you even care at all?
Ooh, you got
Look
it.
at this. It looks like a fly with all those eyes, like compound eyes.
Yeah.
It's if Jeff Goldblum were a phone,
Yeah. Help me.
This would be-
Help me.
I do care.
Nice
How does
phone.
it feel?
But, you know what? I might lend it to you, Ant, because you're very unhappy with the Pixel 6. And I like the Pixel 6 Pro. It's very similar.
just the software.
It's very similar to the Pixel 6 Pro. But I want to see what you think of the camera. So I'll let you borrow this so that you can take some fine pictures with it. I tell you, it's nice as
weirded
screen.
out by 8K on a tiny little phone sensor, but okay.
Well, I would probably, that's gimmick, right? I wouldn't take any 8K stuff. But the screen, I mean, Samsung makes the most beautiful screens. It's a really gorgeous screen. And it's a Note. It's really the Note is back. See, it's got a pen and everything in it. And it's the same
You
kind
ever
of,
use pens when you have, because the various devices you've had over the years that have pens, do you use them?
No, I mean, I was a big Note fan, but mostly I like the Note because of the big screen. There's some things you can do with the pen that's kind of cool. Even while the phone is locked, you can write, Jeff Jarvis's name on here. And what's it doing? Clip web pages. Yeah, I don't need to know.
That's why you don't want to use
What a
this.
good
That
demonstration,
would be
Leo.
That's a very
helpful.
Samsung thing to do. But they're always popping up little things. Oh, you can do this and that. Isn't it annoying that Amazon's Echo is now doing that? After you say set a timer for 20 minutes, it says, "Did you know?" It's like so
really?
annoying. It's like some old guys in the things,
Are they trying to get more use out of the platform?
Yeah,
or
I think
something?
so.
So they decided to put more tips in it.
I think they figured out that nobody does anything but set timers.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to get them to do something else, anything else.
That's 80% of what people do.
Anybody join Truth Social? It was out on Monday. President Trump's...
I already
tried, but
get
it
his
didn't
damned email.
I tried, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah, people had a hard time getting into it.
Yeah, it's kind of buggy, shall we say.
Boy, they had a lot of time to work it out. It looks just like Twitter. I mean, it could not look more like Twitter, right?
It's Mastodon.
It's Mastodon, but Mastodon doesn't look that much like Twitter.
No, it doesn't.
And
I don't
so
understand.
you have
If
to
you've
make
got
it
to
look
get
like
the
Twitter.
app and sign up, and he wants to get publicity and people to read it, why can't you just get it on the web then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Good question.
Because Mastodon is
Yeah,
web.
what I hear is he wants your email addresses so he can send you the requests for money.
Right. I was
Don't think
wrong
so,
when I
no.
said last week that it was $5 a week. Snopes actually had to debunk that. A lot of people had that story, but apparently it doesn't cost anything. But you're right; they're getting other value out of it.
Well, and wasn't there... They basically forked Mastodon, but then didn't maintain the open source.
And so they have a page now that celebrates open source at the Truth Social website and has a zipped file of their source code that you can download because they're so hip with the kids and all this open source stuff. They put it in a zip file. Apparently, they also, according to the Washington Post, borrowed their logo, the broken capital T with a period. It's identical to the logo of a British company called Trailar. There's the broken T. Trailar says, we're going to court.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. British seller of truck solar
It's not the
panels.
first time he's done something like this, right?
Yeah.
No, I forget what was it, Dan? It was like his campaign took something too.
Yeah, I
Can't remember.
can't remember.
The site's terms of service show that free speech isn't that
It's not
free.
permitted.
You cannot try to trick or mislead other users. You may not dox anybody. You can't violate anybody's privacy or publicity rights. Privacy or publicity rights. That's a very Trumpian phrase. When have you talked? You're violating my publicity rights. What?
That's defamation, right?
I don't. What is your publicity?
Actually,
Well, it's you
actually-
can't use my image
Right,
to promote
right.
your stake.
so Neil Young
That's your
actually
publicity
used
right.
that to try and get him to take down a song that he was using.
Right.
You have a right of publicity to your name and
you can't
image.
Post messages that depict violence or include messages related to sexual fetishes, sugar babies. They explicitly call out sugar babies.
It specifically says sugar babies.
Or
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know.
What even is that?
I don't know. You really get the sense.
I don't want to ask. No, don't Google it.
I don't want to know either.
Do we Google? Do we have the courage to Google it?
No, don't bother.
Didn't Doctor Who give everyone a sugar baby on Doctor Who? I think he did.
I think there's sugar babies and sugar daddies. But it's
for
candy.
mutually beneficial dating.
All right. But you're not allowed to do that.
Okay.
Find
your sugar match.
They're under prohibited activities. It's a long list.
Jelly baby, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Jelly baby.
Yeah, 26 things. Yeah.
Thanks, Gumby.
Sugar babies right there. Context in which sexual acts are requested or offered, including pornography, prostitution, sugar babies, sex trafficking, or sexual
I think
fetishes.
this tells us something about Devin Nunes or Donald Trump.
Who wrote sugar baby?
I bet they copied
Somebody
that
added
somewhere.
that. You think they copied it?
Probably.
Some intern.
I don't think any of this is original, so I'd be surprised.
Oh, this is getting worse. Sugar baby and
rough.
daddy arrangements are becoming increasingly popular worldwide.
Yeah, but
says
they don't
Cleve.
ban, interestingly, sugar daddies. Just sugar
of course
babies.
not.
Babies.
Right.
Well, they don't want to reduce the user base too much.
It's quite a long...
Namely, it's not all about the financial benefits. Since you'll need a partner who shares your opinion and respects the
Okay, we
privacy set
know
boundaries
enough
around.
now. We don't need to know any more about that.
No, that's enough.
You can't post anything false, indecent, misleading, profane, obscene, filthy, or otherwise objectionable. You cannot disparage, tarnish, or otherwise harm, in our opinion, us and or the site. They did already ban the Devin Nunes parody account.
The Devin Nunes cow?
The cow.
Yeah, they already banned it. They already banned it.
Nice. Nice.
That's all right. You know what? Everybody deserves their own little clubhouse. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I did. It's puzzling because wasn't there Gab and Parler? There were all these other
Parler's
people
still going, I believe.
They still exist. Yeah. They still exist.
But he couldn't get email addresses to go find chumps that way.
The site was unavailable for most of its first day, President's Day, and its operators reported that overwhelming demand had triggered an outage lasting more than 13 hours. Even the terms of service were offline during that time. There were a lot of people trying to sign up. Some were reporting that they were 300,000th in line. So,
I sense some I don't know, bots with an accent.
oh, you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a few.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's here. If you've been waiting, was number one app on the App Store on Tuesday. What?
If it were only a web application, I would have signed
I know.
up.
It's an odd thing that they didn't have a web version of it. You could still get email addresses from the web. Anyway. Boy, that's it. That's our top stories. Thank you, everybody. We're going to have to rehash some stuff from last week, I think. Well, wait a minute. This really is... I'm stealing stuff now from Jason and All About Android. The first details of the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro are coming out. This actually, I guess it is getting to be next year.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I just got my Pixel 6.
I know. Would it'd come out in the fall usually? So
Yep, it's usually around October, usually.
So according to 9 to 5 Google, it's going to be a second generation Tensor chip. There will be a Pixel 6a and apparently Pixel Notepad devices. I'm not sure what that is.
Ooh, Notepad devices?
Mm-hmm.
Like a tablet?
Well, let's see what that rumor is. I'll go backtracking. Oh, that's the foldable.
Oh, right.
Foldable.
Right.
I actually
saw in the code that it looks like it's something that could be foldable in the code.
Yeah. The Pixel Notepad, yeah. Anyway, I actually sent my fold back to get this fine unfoldable, non-folding
What did you think of the
S22
foldable
Ultra.
one?
You know, it's not quite ready for prime time. I really like the Flip, and that was my Samsung until I got the Ultra, and I'm sending that to Stacy. So when Stacy's on next week, she will have had some time, I think, with the Flip. I think the Flip 3 was pretty good. For somebody who wants a small phone, this thing is heavy and big, and you know, I think the Ultra actually would. I don't know, Aunt. You might need to hold it for me.
Make sure I warm up before I grab it.
Oh yeah, it's heavy. You need some pretty hefty forearms to hold that thing.
But that's premium.
You can't bear
right?
floppy wrists. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Don't you remember the time when phones came out and everybody said, "Well, this phone feels cheap, even though it costs $600, $700." So they're making them heavier.
This does not feel cheap,
complaint.
And it isn't, by the way. It's actually a little. It feels like it's a little heavier than the Pixel 6. So Stacy,
wow, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, she wouldn't really want. I don't think she'd want this. It feels solid though, right?
I got a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
So Meta has lost $500 billion.
Good Lord, what a tumble.
So the question I have, imagine, I know you don't invest in tech stocks, you don't buy tech stocks, you're not an investor that way at all, but just imagine for a moment that you are all greedy investors and all you care about is money. You don't care about principle, you don't care about anything else. All you care about is money.
Profit.
Knowing the stock price of Facebook now, and I don't own any, would you buy it? Just if all you care about is money, that is to say, do you think it's going to go back up, or do you think Facebook has found a new seller?
I would, because they're going to have a hot spot in the near future. I think they will have a hot spot where it's going to pop up, and then that's when I'd sell off, pump and dump kind of thing.
I don't see. Yeah, you go ahead, Leo.
No, Matt.
I was just going to say that. Regardless of what you think about Facebook, there's no way that it lost $500 billion worth of value in the last couple of weeks.
I think that's accurate.
I mean, it's just not possible. So,
in fact, I mean, and Ben Thompson has a good piece on this in Stratechery talking about, because Facebook's $500 billion slide in value. That's a lot. Everybody's attributing to Apple's ATT. That switch.
Oh yeah,
and I find it hard to believe that it could be have that much impact on Facebook's business.
It's not just that.
I put a story up in the rundown about that.
Their user base fell for the first time.
But not by a lot.
15 years.
But still, they were always grow.
First time it fell.
Yeah.
There's a growth premium, but is it $500 billion? I don't think so.
I doubt that.
I would. Again, like you, Jeff, I don't invest in tech stocks. I'm not allowed to. But I think that if you believe you should buy low, sell high, this is a good time to buy, I would think.
Yeah. And I do not plan on buying Facebook, but that would be my strategy if I were.
Yeah.
This is the time.
So another way to ask the question.
It's going to go back up.
Is Facebook past its prime?
Well, that's clearly what the market's saying is, Facebook is the next MySpace. Stand back because TikTok or whoever is going to beat them. I don't know. I find that hard to believe.
I do too, because you don't see a lot of things that are saying, hey, sign in with your TikTok to use it. Facebook is a daggum platform, unfortunately.
Facebook is still a great place to buy ads, right? Especially Instagram. Everybody I talk to says Instagram ads work. Everybody who uses Instagram ads.
Well, they work on you.
Really
but I can speak for myself as a buyer. But people who are buying ads also say, no, those are the ads that work for us.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's changed.
So I put a Wall Street Journal story into the rundown that does get down to the brass tacks of individual businesses and the impact of the Apple change on them. Martha Kruger runs a gift basket business called Gift and Market.
Yeah.
She spent her entire ad budget on Meta platforms. When Apple made the change with the privacy feature for mobile devices, she said her cost to acquire customers rose tenfold. Used to be she had a $14 customer acquisition cost, increased tenfold. So she shifted her whole ad budget to Alphabet's Google. That's just one case, but there are others in here.
One point that Ben Thompson makes in Stratechery is that Google's search ads are still the perfect ad because you don't have to track anybody. They came and they searched for something, and you put a related ad in there.
Here it is.
It's interesting. He says that the next best thing is Amazon's ads.
Yeah.
Because, of course, they're search related as well.
Yeah. So it may be really that's what the market is responding to and saying the future of advertising isn't in tracking. I think really that's the real message from the stock market is not so much, app transparency, Apple's app transparency is killing Facebook. Not at all. But just that it's very clear consumers no longer want to be tracked, and they're going to take steps not to be tracked,
right.
And that companies are going to give them that, build it in. In fact, we talked about this last week. Google has announced they're going to, in the next 2 years, they're not rushing to do it, but they're going to add application tracking transparency to Android phones as well. But that's really more a reaction to the fact that consumers are saying enough. And so I think the market is responding to that, not necessarily ATT, but they're responding to that and saying, you know what, in the long run, customers are don't want this tracking. So yeah, let's favor. Now, did Google go up? Did Amazon go up? I think
stock no. Well, not right now. Everything.
All the tech stocks are down. So you can't even judge. That's another reason you can't say, oh my God, this is.
The Nasdaq was down like 2% today.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, Brian Morrissey, the founder of Digiday, who's since left, has a piece down on the rundown, down on line something or other, 111, in which he's arguing that the pendulum will swing back toward context. Which
is what we do.
Right. Environment lost to data. I don't care where the ad goes as long as I know you're interested in boots. Right. And data uber alles. Now he says, well, now the data is getting cooties and nobody wants data anymore and data is bad and data is not working, then does context come back? I think for some things, you never lost it, Leo, here, but does it come back to your basic publication? I'm not so sure.
He also says, and I love hearing this, primary engagement media will gain. The next phase of digital publishing will favor quality over quantity in terms of audiences. Those publishing brands that put community at their core will thrive since it easily lends itself to a direct relationship.
Community? Did Ant hear community?
That will make those audiences far more valuable than a random collection of people. This is what we've been saying all along, and I hope that's true. Of course, Spotify is meanwhile investing, hundreds of millions of dollars in ad tracking and all of the things that into data and all the things that the communities are rebelling against. It would be really ironic, wouldn't it, if Spotify's $500 billion investment in this stuff turned out to be badly timed, that like they bought into it at the peak and now it's going down. That would make me happy.
Yeah, it would. It would. Me too.
You also put an article in here why podcasts are becoming Netflix. This is the New York Times. Podcasts have been a freewheeling corner of digital life, but the potential for profits is changing that. And this is all based on the Spotify acquisition of Chartable and Podsites we talked about last week, where they're getting into the direct ad insertion. They're spending a lot of money on content. They're doing all that targeted stuff. Boy, that would be ironic if it turned out that, no, that's not the way to go. Sorry, Ant, go ahead.
No, I was just piggybacking off of the Facebook discussion a minute ago. As you're talking about, the consumers are starting to just throw their hands up and say, hey, we've had enough of all of this tracking and we're concerned about our privacy and yada, yada, yada. But yet at the same time, the masses are also still latching on to these different podcasts and shows that are just spewing out interesting information that's not necessarily true. So I'm like, where does all of this even begin to match up? It just doesn't make any sense to me, because I think that's why I say I think Facebook is still going to be quite all right, because there's still a gazillion people out there that will just continue to do whatever Facebook says is good for them, regardless of privacy or not.
Yeah, I mean, I generally agree with you, although also I think the market sometimes is, it's the wisdom of crowds is accurate on this stuff, and maybe they're really saying this is a trend. The trend is away from that kind of tracking. I don't know. I think
Which
that's a
would be-
very interesting question. I like that.
I think that yields then a very different internet, which could be a very good thing.
Yes.
And
Not Web
do we
3, though.
reinvent advertising and content and the notions around this? We still need advertising to support media, or else we're borked.
Yeah.
I don't want to like burst any bubbles, but I don't think any of the stock trading in Facebook had anything to do with advertising.
Oh, good. It was more
was
about
just
the declining enrollment.
Yeah, I think it was users, and I think it was fear about the future.
Yeah.
And those things combined, and obviously fear about Apple's impact on their ad growth. But
Matthew,
if the stock market
regardless
prices
of
in
that,
the future of the company, then people are worried about the future.
The future is the future. Yeah, yeah.
Right, I agree with you, Matthew. But isn't it also the case though that Apple screwing over Facebook and its data leads to bigger questions about user data and advertising as opposed to context and environment? Do you buy that?
Yeah, definitely. I just don't think that's why people trade stocks.
No,
Okay, got it.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. I agree with you.
Okay.
But do you,
Care less.
Matthew, tell me what I want to hear. You do think the content is coming back and communities based around content are...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Thank you. That's all I want to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, that is exciting because you're right, Jeff. We want to support journalism, but that's the best kind of journalism. It's journalism that serves a community. It's either local or, it's of a community of interest. That's the best kind, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll
there's
say
a community
something
called QAnon that's doing really well.
Yeah, well, I don't want to weigh in. Ant was talking about, whether it's true or not. I don't want to weigh in on the content itself. Yeah, absolutely. Some of these communities, are flat earthers.
It's a very powerful community.
But it's a
very
powerful community. I don't know an advertiser. I guess maybe there's some banner makers and hat makers, but there's not a lot of
Pillows.
pillows. Yeah.
Pillows. Yeah.
That's all right. That's fine.
But I think that goes to your point. Like, I don't actually think QAnon and those types of things are about the facts at all. That's not.
Yeah, but who
not
cares?
why
That's
people
I'm not
are part of it.
Yeah. I'm not one of those
community is
people that
why
wants
they're in
stuff
it.
to be shut down because it doesn't espouse something I believe to be true. I guess if it's dangerous.
but you don't have to support it though.
No, but but that's fine. Right. I do my thing. I don't want somebody to shut me down either because
No, I agree.
I think let a million flowers bloom and
Since Matthew's here, let me go off your point for something maybe provocative. So what's happened in the news business is that they've given up on advertising because advertising all went to digital space. Let's just imagine that some advertising started to come back. In the meantime, major publications, especially the big three newspapers in the U.S., have not abandoned advertising, but they are now majority supported by their users, which many celebrate. But I'm constantly more disappointed. My favorite three papers were the Washington Post, New York Times, The Guardian, and I'm getting more disappointed in all three. And somebody asked me on Twitter, well, why do you think that is? And I was Kate Day, now at Politico, and I responded with something that Jay Rosen said some time ago, that when the New York Times thinks that it's enthralled with its users, that its users control everything. On the one hand, they want to pander to them. On the other hand, they want to say, oh, we're independent of you, and we're going to piss you off regularly by doing both sidesism and so on and so forth, right? And I wonder whether, especially for the top three, since they get 2/3 of all the paywall money in news in America, whether this dependence on the users has skewed their mindset a little bit. And we were better off with something that was half advertising and half consumer.
Something that didn't care what people wanted.
Right.
That is a risk, I think. I actually like to think about the 10,000 true fans, I think it was, that Kevin Kelly came up with. Musicians that have pursued those types of models have found success, but they also have a community that wants to tell them what to do. So the more you cater to your community, the more they become the boss in a way. And I think it is a risk if you have a purely subscription driven model, you're going to cater more and more to those readers because they're paying the bills. And that could be a good thing or could not be a good thing.
And everybody says, oh, Twitter doesn't represent the society, but Twitter is 330 million people. It represents a lot of things. The subscriber list for the New York Times and the Washington Post does not represent society at all. It is privileged people.
My attitude, of course, I'm a small timer, but my attitude's from many years in broadcasting is you don't ever want to chase an audience because that's a moving target. So I come from the opposite direction, which is build something I think is good. I have kind of the auteur theory. From my gut, that is good, and hope that they'll generate a community around it, and then continue to do that if it does. And if it doesn't, then you've got your gut's wrong. I suppose that only works on small scale. You can't build a giant business that way.
Yeah.
Oh no. I think I go back to I'm thinking about magazines a lot right now, and also the.
It was EW when you planned EW. That was your gut, right? You didn't have, or did you have?
Yeah.
It wasn't audience research saying, "Oh, you got to have this much."
Well, that's the interesting thing, Leo. Then then audience research was done that was completely wrong.
Right.
The audience research said that the audience for EW was going to be mid-30s to 40s yuppies, very busy, not enough time for their entertainment, want some help. In fact, the actual buying and everything I have heard every day since, it was teenagers and people in their early 20s who said, finally, a magazine for me that has my attitude.
They were enthusiasts.
Yes.
Cater to enthusiasts.
Yes.
Because they're loyal. They'll stay there as long as you serve them. And so that's what I've learned in broadcasting over the years is if you chase an audience, it invariably fails. You have to love your topic and go dive deep into it, and it does well. That was happening at Tech TV. They wanted to broaden it. And I said, it's like ESPN doesn't do shows about for people who don't like football. That's just not. Nope. That's not a good topic. Here's how football works. They don't do remedial shows either.
It's not a good topic for them anyway.
Yeah, they don't say, well, here's the rules of football. No. In fact, the shows that are most successful in sports talk radio are the ones that assume knowledge on the listener's part, assume enthusiasm and knowledge. Yep. And I think we're kind of like that. And that's always the way I've gone. So, yeah, I think it's a risk if you start chasing the audience, but I think the risk is more to you than anything else. It's the risk to your business. I don't,
it's still a balancing act, too, even with the community side of things. Like Mr. Ingram was saying that to an extent, you don't necessarily want your community telling you what to do from a creation
But you do listen
standpoint.
to them, don't you?
Yeah, but you do listen.
Yeah.
But not too much.
Yeah. Well, that's the hard part. It's true of anything. It's true of running a school, too, right? Since the early days of our school, the students say this. The students one year say something, and the students the next year say something exactly the opposite.
Totally different. Yeah.
And you've got to have your own, as Leo said, you've got to have your own vision of what you're doing, and people gather around it, or they say, I don't care about what he cares about. Nobody gathers around.
And then you did the wrong thing, but it's too late. But okay, well, lesson
Better luck
learned.
next time. Better luck next
But
time.
I always told people getting into broadcasting, don't try to be something you're not. Just be yourself. You might not make it.
Amen.
You may not make it, but if you don't, you don't. You're not going to make it by pretending to be something you're not.
Right.
But at the same time, you do have to, it is, you know what, this is true of life. Everything's a paradox. There's no black and white. There's no hard and fast rules for anything. Of course, you have to listen to them and let that inform your gut. If you're going down a rabbit hole.
Well, you got to listen, too.
Yeah,
you got to hear good suggestions and good ideas, but you can't pander.
You can't pander.
I remember at Time
Inc.
Inc.
Chase it. Yes.
A woman, Harriet Fear was her name. She was a brilliant editor. She worked for a while in their magazine development department, the one that also tried to kill EW. And she said she was appalled because she said the men of Time Inc. looked at women from neck to knees.
Yeah.
And so they created one of the things that they tried to create. In fact, they almost launched it. Was a magazine called Picture Week. It was the time for women because it had pictures instead of those nasty words.
Oh, Lord.
Right? That is the worst of pandering. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They also wanted to make a women's magazine that was purse-sized, which did, in fact, happen later. Glamour and companies did have smaller versions. But, it was Picture Week, quietly parenthetical, that'll attract women.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, my computer's just died, so I don't know what the news is. So
I was afraid you were coughing, choking. Something.
Was it running Windows, sir?
no. Let's
Get
go to
your
the terminal.
Chromebook.
I knew it wasn't running Windows. I knew it wasn't.
I must have kicked something. So,
Hold on, I can look for something here.
no, I got to take a break anyway. But Chris, my ad's on the computer too. I know. I'll read it off my Samsung Galaxy S22. This screen is so high quality.
Not the Note.
It's practically a Note. Our show today brought to you. We got more with Matthew. Thank you for being here. This is kind of what you write about at CJR, right? Is the whole the whole media thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm really please correct us if we're wrong about this whole thing.
Oh, okay. He will. Yeah. He will.
Well, and this is your, of course,
nicely.
your bailiwick as well.
Yeah, then he'll apologize for it because he's Canadian. But have the truckers apologized, by the way, Matthew?
Apologize.
Have they done the Canadian thing?
No, because they're not Canadians.
No. Yeah, most of them are Canadian.
Yeah.
That's the irony of the whole
Americans.
thing. They're all Americans, Merkins. Our show today brought to you by New Relic. I am a fan of New Relic. You probably heard of New Relic. They were really big in the early days of Ruby on Rails. Now they've combined all the tools you need for something called network observability. Now picture this. It's 3 a.m. You've just gotten in bed. You're happy. You're relaxed. Or you're asleep. And the phone rings. And something's gone wrong. The network's down. Or the software's crashing. Something's gone wrong. Now what do? You jump up. You're running back and forth. You're trying to figure out, is it the back end? Is it the front end? Is it global? Is it the server? Is it the network? What is it? The cloud provider? You got your team going from tool to tool. They're messaging each other back and forth. Everybody's awake now, and we still don't know what's going on. Are slow running queries? Is it the database? Is it blocked? Did you introduce a bug in your last commit? See, if you had New Relic, you wouldn't have all those questions. You'd have the answer at 3:01 a.m. and you'd be back in bed by 3:05. According to New Relic, only half of all organizations are implementing observability for their networks and systems. That means half will be able to get back to bed. The other half, they're still up 3:30, 4, 5, trying to figure out what's wrong. Maintaining network observability is a big issue for companies all around the world. But if you get New Relic, your life just got 100% better. New Relic combines 16 different monitoring products that you'd normally get separately, but they're all working together. It's a single platform that gives you complete observability across your entire software stack in one place. 16 different tools. I'll give you some examples. There's APM, application monitoring, which is unifying monitoring for your apps and your microservices. If you're using Kubernetes, you'll love Pixie. You must have heard about Pixie. I mean, that's just the way to go. Observability into your clusters. Distributed tracing. You can see all your traces without management headaches, so you can find and fix issues fast. Network performance monitoring, so you can stop guessing where the performance issues are starting and ditch those data silos. For the first time ever, you'll get a system-wide correlated view. Imagine that. And that's just 4 of the 16 tools. And now, here's my favorite part of this whole ad, the best part. It's free. No credit card needed. You can try it right now for free. You get all the tools, full access, and 100 gigabytes of data free per month forever. You don't have to give them a credit card, and they're nothing. They're nothing. Whether you're a cloud-native startup or a Fortune 500 company, it just takes 5 minutes to get New Relic going, and you will be so glad the next time that phone rings at 3 a.m., you'll go, hey, no problem, I got it. And it's fixed, and you're back to bed. No credit card required to sign up right now. NEWRELIC.com/twig. NewRelic.com. Please use the /twig so they know you saw it here, please. Pretty please. Sugar on top. NewRelic.com/twig. I just love that offer. Free forever. 100 gigabytes of data a month. All the tools. for one user gets everything, the rest, but you still have other users. It's just amazing. I have to say, there's no reason not to be using this right now. NewRelic.com/twig. Get there and do it. Somebody saying I'm starting to talk more like Beverly Hillbillies.
What?
I guess I'm getting a little colloquial in my speech. I don't know why that is. I want to be more down home. I don't want to be a preppy. You don't hear it? Okay, good.
No.
Good. Go ahead, Jeff. Pick. You really want to run this show anyway. Go ahead, pick some.
Hey.
I know you do.
What about Mr. Ingram's story?
Yeah, Mr. Ingram.
Mr. Ingram's story from CJR.org. Matthew, I had it right in front of me a second ago. What did you write? What did you write about?
That's about.
It was
go ahead. You know what it's about.
The Earned Act. Yeah.
Oh, that son of a.
The resurrected Earned Act.
It's back, baby. Thank you, Dick Blumenthal. And is this Marsha Blackburn, the other? Yeah.
Can I just say this is
Lindsey Graham.
This is the thing I hate the most about U.S. legislation. So you have a serious bill and you're talking about serious topics, but you have to come up with an acronym.
Yeah.
In some cases,
a retronym.
Bending over backwards. Yeah. Just to get. So this one's the Eliminating Abuse and Rampant Neglect of Interactive Technologies.
First of all, I would submit there is no rampant neglect. Quite the opposite.
I mean, there might be neglect, but is it rampant? It seems like,
I neglect our forums, but that's something different. I don't think they're talking about me.
Is it
Is it rampant? No, it's just me.
Anyway, it's a resurrected bill from 2020,
which thank God
Masnick,
we got rid of in 2020.
Right, but now it's back and it's worse. So
this is one of the bills that attacks 230, right? You have to earn what you have to earn is the right to have protection under 230.
So they're trying to go after child sexual abuse material.
No, they're not. They know better than that. They're just pretending that's what it's all about.
They say they're trying to, but it could result
just like the lotto is for the school system.
Yes, right. Our kids win too.
Or like SOPA and PIPA.
Right.
But it could end up with, mass withdrawal of content just in case it's contravenes the act, and also an end to encryption, which is a pretty serious thing.
Yeah, and Blumenthal says, what are you talking about? This has nothing to do with encryption. Why does it attack encryption?
So it doesn't specifically say that you can't use encryption, but the way it's worded and the way it hands over power to the states to come up with whatever baddie rules they want, I think people are afraid that it's going to become like, if you're using encryption, then
you're guilty.
That's a red flag. Right. The fact that you're even using it and that you should know if there's child sexual abuse material.
The platforms are responsible for knowing what's going on their platform.
Right, exactly.
So if there's encryption, they're obviously not. So no encryption. Right. I mean, it's just kind of work your way backwards from the requirements of it. Now, there's also
Mike Masnick pointed out that it's actually this provides an incentive for platforms to moderate their content even less than they already are, because that way they can claim they didn't know about it.
Yeah. Pretty much what they want, right? Just sort of wash their hands of all of the gibberish that's going on. But they'd still wind up in court.
Well, how does this compare to the Nudge Act, which is Senator Klobuchar's act, which is kind of funny, that says that the NSF and NASEM, the National Academy of Sciences, have to decide what best practices are for restricting misinformation, and then the government's going to enforce it. Which, of course, it's kind of a non-starter with this in the U.S. with this thing called the First Amendment.
And there's been a whole bunch of proposals and attempts by various Congress people and senators to find an end run around Section 230, and B, an end run around the First Amendment. And, those might be good things to have, but it's going to be incredibly, difficult to make that work. You you might get a sort of carve out from Section 230, but that doesn't mean that content still isn't covered by the First Amendment.
I think is it safe to just ignore everything that comes out of Congress these days? Because they're not gonna pass anything, are they?
Well, probably not. No,
it would be a shocker if they did suddenly, though. Then we're stuck with our,
No, I think Leo I think this could be the one thing they do pass
because they got left and right
pincer movement
agree on it. Yeah,
from the left and right, all trying to. It's moral panic, blaming moral panic. I said it, Dan. Moral panic. Trying to blame technology for all of our ills. And thank you, Anna. And I need a theme song for Moral Panic, maybe. I need it.
Ask Pete Dominic if you need a theme song.
All right. Pete's good to me. Pete gives me jingles. So here all I get is a 10-second choir.
Raspberry. Yeah.
But the Republicans and Democrats, they're, one side thinks the platforms moderate too much, and the other side thinks they don't moderate enough.
Well,
they
actually
all just like them.
They think both, right? Because you shouldn't have taken President Trump's account down, but you should take Devin Nunes's account down. Right. So it's not clear.
And you should remove misinformation, but only the stuff that we say is misinformation.
Right. Which is why I get very nervous when people talk about banning Joe Rogan and stuff. Is even if it's something ridiculously wrong, people have the right to say stupid things.
Yeah, but it's not banning Joe Rogan. It is saying
people want Spotify
we have a choice.
People do want, some people at least want Spotify to cancel Joe Rogan.
Well, I don't want to. I'll go this far. I don't want to patronize Spotify when they have Joe Rogan. So no, this is other choices.
Totally fine.
They made a choice, and I made a choice. Right. That's it.
Yeah, I mean they keep trying to argue that they're just a platform that hosts content, but they paid him $200 million.
Yeah.
No,
that's more than just, hey, come use our platform.
Right. That might have been their tactical error right there. I think I'm really liking this whole new narrative that we've come up with, that Spotify got into the targeted ad game at exactly the wrong time. I'm loving that. Let's go with that. That's a good one. Let's see. Meta is no longer in the top 10 even of market value. That's how much they've plummeted. $513 billion in market cap. Wow.
Sorry, speaking of laws aimed at platforms, according to one of the recent laws, Facebook's fallen so much in market value that it wouldn't even be covered by one of the laws that was aimed at
Blumenthal's law requires a $600 billion market cap.
$600 million market cap.
And they only have $565 billion.
Yeah.
Dang.
Maybe Mark tanked the stock so that they would be below the...
you get out of the limelight.
I think Blumenthal was looking at this, in fact, top 10 most valuable companies, because to get into the top 10... you need $600 billion in value. Well, 10 cents squeaks in with $5.89, but I think that's probably what it is. Apple is slowly pushing the top limit. They're now $2.8 trillion in market value, but nobody's going after Apple. That just shows, whether you believe it or not, go for privacy. That's what people want. They really do want that, and. But
you don't have to offer it to people in China.
No. Oh yeah, that's fine.
So don't worry about that.
Follow all the laws of every country you're in, except the United States. Then you're golden, or something, apparently, the Astro robot that Amazon was flogging, the little weird spy robot for $1,450. Actually, there were 300 of them sold, but that's it. And so you're starting to see now some videos going around.
I'm surprised there were that many.
I know.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
At that price.
Is it for the people that work for Amazon that the family members bought it?
No. Here's a 5th grade teacher from Florida.
I would have to drive my car and go to the store and get all my groceries.
Matthew Narum.
Yeah.
He got his Astro a couple of months ago. Here is a video of Astro delivering a beer.
Wow.
Just like the commercial says.
Moving fast.
A $1,400 beer.
Beer coaster. And you only can get one beer in there, by the way.
Wow.
Well, somebody has to put the beer in
double-fisted
for you to get it out.
This is ridiculous.
Now it's lost.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me turn up the sound because,
Wait a minute. It went to the wall. Here's your beer.
It's lost. Turn up my sound, John.
Guy's following it. Give me my beer.
It's good he has hardwood floors. That's all.
Astro. Find
What?
Celeste.
Celeste is his wife,
I'm
I
thinking.
presume. I hope it's not his fifth grader. Oh, he's looking around. This is very
Celeste.
weird. Oh,
If I
I
had
think
a
he
voice,
found
I'd
her.
call you Celeste.
I think
but I'm
he
only a
found
dumb
her.
robot.
Oh, there she is.
I think
Almost.
those are Celeste scams. Astro, like the editors of Entertainment Weekly, thinks that women
Or just neck to knees.
are just neck to knees. There he goes. He found it.
Letters of
So
time.
she got her beer, then.
I guess so. He doesn't really deliver the beer. He just kind of stands next to you till you take it. Wow.
Where's Boston Dynamics when we need them?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the dog would get it to you, man.
He
What
only
happens if
paid.
you try to take the beer, but it doesn't recognize you? The lasers come out.
Yeah. Amazon does not release sales data, but a company spokesperson told The Verge, quote, they're seeing positive feedback and learning a lot about how customers want to use a consumer robot.
Those also known as bug reports.
Yeah. He also said it's too early to say when we'll have more available. I don't think Amazon ever expected to sell these in quantity, obviously.
No.
They're just it's all about the learnings.
Yeah, maybe this is a pilot for something bigger and better, like DoD stuff.
No, Amazon's not too smart to get involved in that. Remember there were all the brouhaha over. Of course, they did want the
Lost
Jedi
the notes.
contract, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They wanted
They
that
did,
bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We now know who was behind QAnon. Do you like this story?
Person named Q.
Yeah.
Well, we know who
No.
Q was. So, computer scientists using machine learning have done linguistic analysis of the posts from QAnon. This is always a question. Who is Q? In fact, there was a good documentary about the whole phenomenon, which fingered a guy named Ron Watkins, who he was at 4chan, he was a moderator there, opened up 8chan. Q mysteriously followed him to 8chan. According to the linguistic analysis, Ron Watkins, who is now running for Congress in Arizona, incidentally, yes, was one of two people. Before Q moved to 8chan, in the early days, a South African software developer and tech journalist named Paul Ferber. Paul Ferber was apparently the first Q. He was long fascinated with American politics and conspiracy theories. He in an recent interview, he clung to the idea of Pizzagate, the story about, the Satanists who were trafficking children from a Washington pizza restaurant. He was also among the few who understood an obscure reference in the message to Operation Mockingbird, an alleged CIA scheme to manipulate the news media. Two independent teams of forensic linguists say their analysis of text showed that Mr. Ferber actually played the lead role in writing the earliest messages. Ferber is not a name that I've seen mentioned before, but
I don't hang out with that crew.
right. Well, they don't know, and they don't want to know. I think they'd prefer to. They don't want it to be some guy from South Africa. They want it to be somebody with deep connections to the.
I've read about the Ron
intelligence.
Watkins theories before.
Yeah.
But not Ferber.
Yeah. Watkins appears to have taken over from Ferber in the beginning of 2018. Of course, both deny it. Apparently,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
They said it's not true, so.
Yeah. In a telephone interview from his home, this is the New York Times, near Johannesburg, Mr. Ferber did not dispute that Q's writing resembles his own. Instead, he claimed that Q's posts had influenced him so deeply that they altered his prose.
Right. Right.
I am your father.
Q's messages
Good one.
took over our lives literally, Mr. Ferber said. We all started talking like him. Linguistic experts said that is implausible.
Said that was implausible.
Implausible. Their analyses included tweets by Mr. Ferber from the very first days that Q emerged. So how could he have been copying Q? Ron Watkins consistently says, I am not Q.
But he also praised the posts for being super smart.
I like Q.
So,
What was the name of the documentary? That was a good documentary. And in that,
I forgot.
he kind of smirkingly, basically, not admitted to it, but kind of implied
Took credit for it.
Yeah, and then he backed down, and it's called Q Into the Storm. It wasn't. It was an HBO series. But if you get a chance, if you're an HBO subscriber, it's a 6-episode series. It's worth watching, and I think pretty much fingers Ron Watkins. But there's enough there that Colin Hoback's documentary, enough ambiguity that it's not sure. But that's interesting anyway. Take it for what it's worth. Depends, I guess, on how much you believe linguistic forensic analysis.
Well, and Q's shut up lately, right? Q hasn't been out there, but people are supposedly following Q. But the problem is for any of this, for truckers and vaccines or any of this, what they say is the point is not the point, and that's the point, right? It's that we're gonna pick a target. It doesn't matter what the target is. Our aim is to destroy institutions. Our aim is to disrupt. Our aim is to piss you off. Our aim is to own the libs. Right. And it really doesn't matter what the target is. But media will take it seriously. So media saying all the truckers care about the vaccination. Hey, they're not truckers. They don't care about the vaccination. But you got used, media. You got used.
Alex Jones said his strategy was flood the zone with.
Yeah.
Right.
How was coverage of the trucker stuff in Canada versus U.S., Matthew, since you watch media in both places?
It's quite interesting, actually. We were just talking about that at CJR this morning because the New York Times had a couple of people reporting on it, and there was quite a bit of sort of pushback against the Times reporting because the Times story, even in the headline, I think, said that protesters were being removed and arrested at gunpoint. And a whole bunch of Canadian journalists and others said, that's an inaccurate way of reporting it. And I watched hours of video of the protesters being removed, and I saw guns, I think, twice. So out of 170 arrests, it appears that there may have been 2 in which guns were used because a tactical team had to, go into a vehicle or whatever. So, is it fair to say in a headline that people were being removed at gunpoint if it only happened twice out of 170 times? Maybe not. But then the New York Times got all defensive and said, you guys just don't like to think of yourself as having guns. And so we're telling you the truth, the uncomfortable truth, and you just don't like it.
Well, the Times does not take criticism well. Like me in third grade.
For sure.
Was that what the teacher said? He does not take criticism well.
In fact, they found a folder of old report cards. Yeah, and there were moments of hilarity for my wife and sister at my expense.
I'll bet.
Does not take criticism well.
Mine was Matthew doesn't apply himself.
Oh, that was mine in every single time. He has so much potential. Why? He's so lazy. Yeah. He doesn't apply himself.
Yeah. Daydreaming. That was my...
Let's take a little break.
Actually, this one, my kindergarten report card.
Yeah.
Said that I respond to his group critically. And this is the best one. Quote, seems to be emotionally stable. Seems to be.
You are all just stupid.
And that was in the 20s.
That's not writing, that's typing. Red pencil. I could just see it. They should have written, he will be an editor someday.
Yes. I got scared. This is true of me. You remember the jungle gyms, right? They had an indoor kindergarten jungle gym, and it was just a piece of wood across, right?
It's basically a bridge without a river.
In the jungle gym.
Yeah. You got
How do you get trapped in a jungle gym? I was trapped and crying because I couldn't figure out how to get out of the jungle gym. So
you are the least athletic person I know, sir.
Yes, I am, sir.
Trapped in the jungle gym.
I am.
You're kind of trapped in the jungle gym of life, really.
I am. I can't find my way out.
Was that before or after they abandoned the Palmer method? What kind
my handwriting is awful. That was. I didn't have either the Palmer method or grammar.
What was the Palmer method?
The Palmer. Did you learn? You learned, Matthew, had a cursive, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, the Palmer method was it's actually quite beautiful. I wish we had learned the Palmer method, but it got replaced in schools, I think in the 20s, by what I learned for handwriting, which I can't remember what it's called. No, in the 50s. In the 50s. Yeah. Eventually, according to Wikipedia, supplanted by the Zahner-Bloser method, which I'm sure we didn't learn. But this is what Palmer looks like. And I actually got some books to teach me the Palmer method. Can you see my screen? There you go. That's what it looks like. It's pretty, isn't it?
I should point out
that looks like what we learned.
Sort of, yeah.
Trapped in the jungle gym of life.
Trapped in the jungle gym of life with the Palmer method.
That's pretty good.
And a quill pen.
Seems emotionally stable is another
I did have an ulcer in first grade after I moved from that school to Iowa. Yes, I was a neurotic little
wow. Is that even possible?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were like an old man.
For me?
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Moved from Elmhurst, Illinois to Burlington, Iowa. And I didn't like it.
In the 20s.
This is what you learned, Ant, the Zahner-Bloser. I didn't know it was called the Zahner-Bloser method. But
I never knew that.
This is what we learned in here, show this. This is what we learned. Doesn't that? Yeah. That's what you learned, right?
Yeah.
It's simple. It's much simpler. Well, it's simpler.
Oh, okay. It's not as much curling and
not as much curly cues. Well, my favorite is the Spencerian method.
What the heck?
If I could learn that, I would be a happy man.
Capitals?
No, it's like what Lincoln must have written the Gettysburg Address in. I'll show you a Spencerian. Actually, I think this is what I have.
This dude has Spencerian.
Oh yeah, look at that. Don't you wish you could write like that?
Yes.
That's how everybody wrote.
I actually did calligraphy for a while.
Yeah, it's like calligraphy.
Fun.
It's so pretty.
I like calligraphy.
Yeah.
No spaces between the words. Jeez.
Yeah. But you don't need spaces when your letters are that beautiful.
Do you guys remember the Evelyn Wood speed reading?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
My sister took the course.
There's apparently there's a podcast out based on a book. The whole thing was just a gigantic scam. It doesn't work and never has worked.
Of course not.
And
of course
scientists have pretty much proven that it doesn't work. But she was such a nice lady, and she looked like your grandma. And
you had to move your hands.
That's right.
Yeah.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
You had to run your hand down. Yeah, the middle of the page. Anyway, it's all garbage, and the whole thing was a scam.
And actually, that's the pun because they call her a scan artist.
Right. That's right. Scan artist.
Yeah. How Evelyn Wood convinced the world that
nice.
speed reading worked.
Wow.
And here's a lesson. We could actually, it's actually on YouTube.
Really?
Yes.
Is it her doing it?
No, I think Evelyn's long gone. This is
I know.
Evelyn's granddaughter, Pat Bean.
In this learning program, you will develop a skill set that can double.
There you go. Boom. Read
There it
the
is.
reading
See?
See?
Read the
Dynamic reading enhances speed, comprehension, and retention.
Oh my
Let's join
gosh.
Pat Bean, the
She
instructor.
claimed you could
as
get up
she
to like 2,000 or 3,000 words a minute.
Yeah.
And most people are around 100 to 200.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm at about 40.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Read to me. That's what I want. Just read to me.
Yeah, thank you for Audible.
Yeah, no kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, our show today brought to you by the good folks at Wealthfront. A lot of investment apps. This is the thing now to make it easy to trade. You know, you saw the ads in the Super Bowl for social trading, like somebody's going to tweet at me the best stock to buy. Look, just because it's easy to do doesn't mean you or they know what they're doing. Wealthfront makes it easy to invest and easy to grow your savings with a diversified portfolio, the one experts recommend. But it doesn't mean you can't have some fun, but this balances your other riskier bets. This is how you build wealth over a period of time, whether it's for retirement, a college fund for your kids to buy your first house. You can start investing in no time with Wealthfront's classic portfolio. It's all set up, ready to go. Or, and I like this idea, make it your own with the things you care about. You can have socially responsible funds, technology funds, a lot of us like that. Or you want to get into crypto, they do have crypto trusts. They have hundreds of investments in all kinds of areas. But Wealthfront, the point is, was designed by financial experts to help you turn your good ideas into great investments without the hassle of doing it all yourself. And they do all the things that are so hard to do that most people don't do, like tax loss harvesting, lowering your tax bill as you earn. They can help you do that. Do you know about rebalancing? Experts say you need to rebalance regularly. Do you do that with your portfolio? Well, Wealthfront does it for you automatically. That's one of the reasons Wealthfront is trusted with $28 billion in assets. 500,000 people are using Wealthfront right now to build their wealth. It's easy to get started. $500 is the minimum to start. Simple enough. Grow your wealth the easy way. Let Wealthfront do the work for you. And the best part is their product is so simple, yet so powerful. 4.9 out of 5 stars in the App Store. 4.9 out of 5. People love Wealthfront. Start building your wealth. Get your first $5,000 managed free for life. That's even better. Go to wealthfront.com/twig. You can still have fun with your diamond hands and your to the moons. WEALTHFRONT. Wealthfront.com/twig to build your wealth. Go to wealthfront.com/twig. Get started today. We thank them so much for supporting This Week in Google. Thank you for using that address so they know you saw it here. Wealthfront.com/twig. Okay. La-dee-da. Shall we do a change log?
Wow, you're just rushing.
I got
through.
nothing. I really have
Why
nothing.
not?
Let's do it. Play. Yeah.
The Google change log.
The long, drawn-out death of Google Hangouts continues.
Google again this week?
Google Chat is going to replace Hangouts. I didn't even know Hangouts was still around. It is. In Workspace, you'll have to go to Chat. You're just going to have to go to Chat. The switch was delayed. They wanted to do this back in October. Get this, 2019. Then they didn't really get started till last June. The final phase, when I say last June, I mean 2020. The final phase is now set for late March. Beginning March 22nd, we'll turn on the Chat Preferred setting for any customers who haven't already done so, making Google Chat the default chat application. So if you go to Hangouts in Gmail on the web or in the Hangouts mobile apps, you'll be redirected. Google says not possible to opt out of this change. However, because Google is not exactly committed, hangouts.google.com will continue to work for some time.
Okay, that explains it, because I'm looking on my phone right now, and the last 2 messages, one's from December 28th, one's from February 3rd, here in Hangouts. I thought it was supposed to have been dead.
It's not quite dead.
It's
not dead yet.
Dead.
It's mostly dead.
Remember, yeah, Princess Bride?
Yeah.
It's only mostly
dead. And in
mostly
fact,
dead.
Now Google Messages is even the default on Samsung. So I think they're really just kind of, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. If your Workspace organization's admin console setting is still set to Chat and Classic Hangouts, the automatic upgrade to Chat Preferred will occur over the course of 3 weeks starting on March 22nd. Organizations with classic Hangouts only will see the transition commence over a 5-week period starting April 4th. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but I'm looking at this, and I'm not in Workspace. This is just my personal.
I know. I gave it up finally. I'm on Fi, and I gave it up finally, and I'm using Android.
Yeah, I don't use it hardly ever. Those 2 messages that I did receive were a bit of a surprise, and I want to say one was, "Hey, are you the only person still using this?" Something like that.
There is a new build for the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. The February update, which came out early in February, has a new update, an update to the update. Same February 2022 name, but a new version, 0.004 versus 0.003. I don't know if I've moved to 12L, by the way, finally on my Pixel 6. I don't know. Andrew,
I was supposed to do that this weekend.
Yeah, you could just go to the beta page and say yes. They'll say your Pixel 6 is eligible and just do it.
Okay.
And it's been.
Yeah, you didn't mention that last
again,
week.
I haven't had any problems. So I don't know. I mean, in fact, I was listening all about Android, and none of them have had problems with their Pixel 6s either.
Great.
But supposedly there's now the Wi-Fi problem with the update and so forth and so on. And anyway,
Why would it be that like Ants operates differently from you?
I honestly, I've got nobody agrees with me on this, but I honestly think there's hardware problems. There's QC problems that some Pixels don't work well.
Some Pixels.
Mine has worked flawlessly from day one. Love it.
Knock wood. So
Burke has Pixel 6 5G problems. Okay. I was able to get that new 5G UC. Oh, but that was on my T-Mobile. Never mind. That was on my
it's very confusing being you.
It's very confusing. I don't have to.
Yeah, when I see the little 5G logo on the phone, I sort of laugh at it because this is not going to work.
Well, turn off 5G because you'll get battery life anyway, and I don't know if 5G in most areas is not much faster than LTE.
No,
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Do you have it in Canada?
No, but I really would like to have it because
when it's fast, it's
I signed
really
up
fast.
for Starlink, and Elon has been ghosting me. So,
are you on Starlink yet?
No, it said that it was supposed to come within a year, and that was about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I just checked mine. It said someday in 2023, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Oh well. Google has introduced Lite Mode for Android. I'm sorry, they're killing it. I had never heard about it, so that's why I thought they were introducing it. It will be removed.
Is that like dark mode, but better?
Oh, they are.
Not
They are introducing
LIGHT.
it, but then they're going to kill it. They're introducing it, but then they're going to kill it.
That's the fun part.
As usual.
Google has announced this is from 9 to 5 Google, with its upcoming Chrome 100 release, the company will discontinue Chrome Lite Mode, which had been available on Android for years, formerly known as Data Saver. Yeah, maybe you recognize that. Data Saver. So if you had a low or limited data connection, you could use that. Google says, we notice not a lot of people use it anymore, so...
There's a meme for reporting these sorts of things. Google is killing Lite Mode. In other news, Google had a thing called Lite Mode.
Yes, that's exactly it. They also have a password manager in Chrome, and now you can put notes in there, which is nice.
That's good.
Paralleling kind of the capabilities of other password managers, secure notes. So
to remind you of why you made the password, or?
Right, exactly.
No, but also other things like I store my social security number and the family social security numbers and notes and stuff. Vax. It's nice to have a place where you can store secure notes. I mean, that's what a password manager is good for. But if you're using Chrome as your password manager, there you go. And this is just for Jeff Jarvis. Google search's dark theme goes fully black for some on the web.
It's evil.
More gray.
It's so goth.
More black. Blacker than black.
It's emo.
Yeah. So, because sometimes dark mode is just gray, which I don't. I want it to be black because it's better for OLED.
There's an emo song called. It has lyric I'll stop wearing black when they make a darker color.
Google does say if you're having Wi-Fi issues with your Pixel 6, that they will fix that in the March update.
But they said that in the February.
I know. They said in December. I know.
And they still mean it.
I know. Are you ready for a new font? Roboto Serif.
This disappointed me a little bit. I'm not a serif person. I love Roboto.
Yeah, me neither.
That's probably my second favorite font.
After what?
Babus.
Who is this?
What?
Interesting.
Bebaus. Babus.
I haven't tried that one.
I never heard of it.
I'm more of a Garamond guy.
Look it up. Look it up. It's beautiful.
I'm a
It's from-
Jensen guy.
Here it is from
Okay.
dafont.com. Oh, it's nice. Yeah. This is the font.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. A display font.
That's
Do you
my
use that
number
on your
one.
phone?
No, I just use it for if I'm creating content. That's
It's
normally
nice.
the way
It's
I
a good
go
look.
because it's so readable.
You know what's funny? I associate it with you. Seriously. I said, that looks like Ant. That's
Perfect.
it.
I'm a Helvetica fan.
Oh, yeah.
bless
You
your
can't
You're
go.
Garriman.
Bless your heart.
Makes me old. Garamond too. It depends on what I'm using it for.
So
But
my
serifs are
literary
bad.
agency.
Serif fonts should go away.
Oh, I like serif fonts.
No. they're
I love
not.
serif fonts. Love serif fonts. My literary agency is the Garamond Agency. And then I had fun telling them, actually, it's Cloud Garamond with a T. And by the way, he didn't really design it. Somebody else designed it.
Right.
But never
It doesn't
mind.
matter.
I just like to ruin their fun.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Jensen is my favorite font. Beautiful. For the first real Roman font.
Jansen.
Yeah, I always get confused.
I'm going to give you my a tip. This will be a tip.
Jansen.
I like fonts too, but programmers want fixed width fonts. And there's there's a whole lot of programmer fonts out there. I guess it's one of the things programmers do when they're not programming. They like to design fonts. Programmingfonts.org is a really great way to look at quite a few fonts and just kind of compare them side by side. I wish they had this for all kinds of fonts.
So you can see how they're looking.
So you can, yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. So that's a fun. I'm an IO Sevka kind of guy. A lot of people like the Fira Code. It's a pretty good font, but I like IO Sevka. It's kind of a narrow font.
Was it Garamond that wouldn't work in an IDE?
You know,
for you?
there are people who say you should. There's no need now to use fixed width fonts anymore, but I just can't code in a regular font. What's the opposite?
I have to use
fixed?
Comic Sans. It doesn't work.
Variable font.
Yeah.
There is a Comic Sans programmer's font.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's called, what is it called? Code Sans. It's really cute. Here it is. Well, here's one called Comic Shans.
See, it seems friendly.
Is that it's friendly? That's actually a great programmer's font.
That's meant to be a programmer's font. Yes,
I like
it
that.
has found its home.
I might be my new font. That's really cool.
Jensen, not Jansen. I was wrong.
Jensen.
For the record.
Okay.
Jensen.
Okay.
1470.
That does read nicely, though. I
might change my font to this. It's pretty. It's a pretty font. And that's the Google changelog.
That segment was for you, Joe Esposito.
Oh yeah, Joe likes that segment.
Yeah. I was on his podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he's a graphics guy, so he loves talking.
Oh, he loves talking about fonts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jensen,
he's also one of our members.
Oh well, welcome. Good to see you. It's an Adobe font.
It is. It's a fascinating font because it became kind of the sword in the stone for later font designers. It was somebody who we believe passed through Gutenberg's workshop on his way to Italy, and there designed this in Venice, and it's beautiful.
It is a very lovely font.
Jensen?
It reminds me of Garamond a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
Well, all of them kind of come from Jensen. It was the first real Roman font. And there's this great story about a beautiful font that was done in copying it for the Dove's Bible. It was a handmade, magnificent, one of the most beautiful books ever made. And the designer of the font was so afraid it was going to get misused in other books. He was an old man. He took like regular walks to the Thames to throw all of the type in the Thames so it couldn't be replicated. And then a later font designer recently decided to try to redesign it and did redesign it, try to recapture the Doves font. And then he hired divers to go into the Thames to find the letters and
Did he
found
find
some.
them?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and thus Comic Sans was born. It's a wonderful story.
That's wild.
It got a little soggy. Yeah, Garamond looks very much like it.
Does. Garamond's a very, very, very nice font.
Yeah, I like them both. Okay.
Well, we got nothing of the show today.
It's such a light. It's such a light week.
Come on. What about that story about people's bionic eyes who stop
that's
working
what I was going to
because
go
they're not supported by the company?
It's not a
Can you
huge number
imagine?
of people, but imagine getting
No, I know,
surgery
but
and spending
imagine.
thousands of dollars and now gaining some form of sight because of these implants, kind of like cochlear implants for hearing, bionic eyes.
Then the company goes under.
And then the company goes under.
Your eye stops working.
This is from IEEE Spectrum. The story starts with Barbara Campbell walking through a New York subway station, enjoying, a nice little walk home, when her world abruptly went dark. For 4 years, she'd been using a high-tech implant in her left eye that gave her a crude kind of bionic vision, partially compensating for the genetic disease that had rendered her completely blind in her 30s. I remember exactly where I was. I was switching from the 6 train to the F train. I was about to go down the stairs. All of a sudden, I heard a little beep, beep, beep sound. It wasn't her battery running out. It was her Argus 2 retinal implant system powering down.
Ugh.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Second Sight Medical made these and implanted people in people's eyes 15 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago. And they've been relying on them ever since. The problem is, they've been superseded by better technologies. However, if you spend a lot of money and got the implant, that's kind of the way you see. Russ Dorr, another Second Sight patient, said it's a fantastic technology and a lousy company. It does seem like this is 350 people. It's not a huge number, but 350 people around the world have these implants.
Yeah, their lives just profoundly affected.
Some of them
someone could help them.
Well, yeah, Second Sight discontinued the implant in 2019. They raised money, almost went out of business, raised money in 2021, but they changed their focus to a brain implant called Orion. Maybe don't get Orion, just a little tip.
It's like, it's the Google of eyes.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill the product.
It does raise a really interesting issue. I mean, now we have these things that we can do, maybe. But what happens if the company? I wish Stacy were here because we talk about IoT failing all the time.
Yeah,
this is another kind of IoT.
What if Elon Musk gets a brain implant and then, business goes under?
Yeah. I mean, once you've got this implanted in your brain, interesting. Yeah,
and even to get it taken out is expensive and risky.
It was selling for about $150,000. And still the company was losing money.
Wow.
Yeah. And once you get the implant, you still have to learn to see again, right? You can't just not suddenly the lights go on. One Argus 2 patient estimated the cost of the device, surgery, and rehab was close to $500,000.
Ugh.
Typically about 80% covered by insurance, but still very, very, very expensive. It's an interesting technology.
I know this isn't funny, but Stephen Wright used to joke about walking downtown with his glasses on and then his prescription ran out and he couldn't see anymore.
This is a little worse than the prescription running out.
That's a classic Stephen Wright gag.
That's right.
Is classic.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from Stephen Wright in a while. Is he still around? Is he dead or Canadian?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he just stopped being funny.
He always seemed a little depressed. That was just his deadpan delivery. He's still alive.
Old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he hit on one of my colleagues at People Magazine when she interviewed him.
He's the 15th.
Oh, lovely.
15th greatest comic of all time. Well,
Wow, 15, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Who says?
The people who
Rolling Stone has a list of the 50 greatest stand-up
It was
comics.
funny.
Did you see the stories about Jerry Lewis being a serial harasser?
He's a notorious
That's no
bad
surprise.
person.
Have you watched the Cosby?
I started it. It's
series?
so hard to watch. So difficult to watch. Hey, I don't have a sample. I wish I did, but Apple is going to offer a less gendered voice for Siri in an updated version of iOS 15.4. Now, as of last year, Siri doesn't default to that female voice we all know. You can pick your preference. I actually have a Siri voice that I really like.
Is it you?
No.
Where did you get it?
Apple doesn't give you a choice. You can't go to outside. You can only. Let me play you the Siri voice that I use, because I really I'm a fan. I use American Voice 3. So, but you have to choose when you first install. Let me turn the volume up so you can hear it. So that's the.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
That's a male standard voice.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Kind of jaunty, right?
Yeah.
This is my favorite voice.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
He's got a little.
He's got attitude.
Got a little attitude.
That's what I kind of imagine Salt Hank sounds like.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Well, they actually brought in an LGBTQ plus voice actor to create a less gendered voice. Apple confirmed the new voice was recorded by a member of the LGBTQ plus community, but did not offer further details. We're excited to introduce a new Siri voice for English speakers, giving users more options to choose a voice that speaks to them. I think that's a good idea. Why does it have to be male or female? It's a robot.
I'm kind of surprised you can't get celebrity voices. Why can't I get?
You did at one point.
Could you?
Not for
was that
Apple.
Google?
That was
Google.
Not for Siri, I don't think.
Amazon. I have Melissa McCarthy. I have so many voices, and you can actually talk. So you can say Samuel L. Jackson, you tell me the weather, or Melissa McCarthy, you tell me the weather. I can have them both. But this is interesting. I don't have the voice yet, but it will be available, I guess, in the next version of iOS.
Fascinating.
Yesterday, AT&T pulled the plug on 3G service, beginning a transition that's going to happen throughout the year with all the major carriers. 2/2/22 for AT&T. T-Mobile's coming up sometime in July, and then Verizon at the end of the year. But a lot of things use 3G still. Cars, burglar alarms. As many as 10% of all the public school buses across the country will lose communications services. This is the worst one, though. The Muni in San Francisco had signs that say the next bus will be here in 3 minutes. Not 650 prediction display systems at bus shelters rely on AT&T's 3G service. Stopped working yesterday. That's it. No more. 2 million devices powering burglar alarms and fire alarms will go offline.
This is just AT&T.
That's just AT&T, right? But they'll all be going down now over the next few months. Now, we've known about this for a couple of years.
Yeah, but it's not unlike the eye story.
It's very similar.
Implant, right? It's should there be an obligation to should you in a way have to put up a fund of money to keep it going if you choose not to? Is there some obligation that you would have? I'm waiting for Klobuchar to start doing that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
This also reminds me of the FAA versus FCC battle over altimeters. Who's responsible for you updating these altimeters so that they aren't interfered with by 5G signals? It's complicated. T-Mobile sunset its 3G July 1st, Verizon December 31st, but they're all three ending their 3G service. So some people are going to have to get updated hardware. And I don't know what you do in a car. The Winter Olympics ratings, terrible. A new low. Why? You think it was politics? You think it was
hosted
Beijing?
by a dictator.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I have to say, I found myself in a moral quandary.
Did you? So what did you? Okay, well, where did you come out of the quandary? Now I have to know.
I watched.
You watched curling. You had to watch
some
curling.
things with Canadians in them. Yeah,
you had
hockey
to watch
and
curling.
curling.
Yeah.
Oh, and slope stop.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel good about it.
Did you guys watch Ant? Leo, did you watch any Olympics?
I did. I watched, I like the figure skating. I watched some of that. I love seeing people strap themselves to metal platforms and slide down ice at 80 miles an hour. So I watched the luge, the bobsled.
A guy said he liked watching all of the Winter Olympic sports. The one where you hurl yourself down a hill on one piece of wood, the one where you hurl yourself down a hill on two pieces of wood.
Love those.
And the one where you hurl yourself down a hill inside a piece of wood.
Yeah.
I watched exactly 2 female bobsledders. That's it. That's all I watched.
I know which ones you watched,
2
though.
races.
Because those were good. Those were exciting. When the former Canadian who got dissed by her Canadian coaches and switched to America, and she got a gold medal.
Yeah, hey, take that,
there.
Canada.
I have to say, did you guys watch any hockey?
No.
Negative.
So there was a quote-unquote Chinese hockey team, and it was 80% Americans and Canadians, and they didn't even have to make them citizens. They just gave them fake Chinese names, which the announcers then didn't use.
No.
Oh, man.
And yeah, it was just a travesty. It was.
I also think the IOC's complete, just letting them off the hook of the Russian Olympic Committee /
crazy.
Russia.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's not even a slap on the wrist. Oh, you can't compete under your flag. You just be the ROC. And, you're 16-year-olds on heart medication, performance-enhancing drugs. Well, I guess we can't play the national anthem if she wins a medal.
But she can still compete.
She can still compete.
Yeah.
I think that tarnishes the whole thing, to be honest.
It's a joke.
Good old IOC.
We're going to go to Qatar for the FIFA, the World Cup, another upstanding, fine country. I think.
Well, then you have golf. What's his name?
In Dubai.
Nicholson.
What happened?
That was pretty. So Mickelson, who makes a fortune in golf, came out and said that he was going to support a Saudi-backed a new league that would compete at Donald Trump's clubs. And he acknowledged the Saudis are bad and they kill reporters, they do terrible things, but we got to shake up the PGA. Give it 24 hours, then he has to apologize for all of that.
Yep.
Well, that was the thing about these guys on the Chinese quote-unquote hockey team. A couple of them said, I'm proud to represent China. I'm like, really? You're proud to represent China? Like, have you read any of the news? Or why not just say, I really want to be in the Olympics? I really want to be in the Olympics. I don't care who I represent.
I mean, I understand the qualms about Mickelson, but, the sovereign fund of Saudi Arabia funds many of the technology companies in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
They're I mean, nobody's trumpeting this, but they're big investors in Silicon Valley.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I know companies that can only get the money from there, and they've made a decision and said, okay, we'll take the money and we'll try to make something good out of it.
Yeah.
But yep.
Yeah. It's getting harder and harder in this world to have a moral standard.
And have any money. Yeah.
And have any money.
I was going to say, you can do that, but
you can be poor and
probably going to be broke.
Yeah.
Well, that's what finally changed Phil Mickelson's mind. His longtime sponsor, KPMG, said, hey, we're not going to sponsor you anymore. And he said, this was a terrible idea.
I changed my mind. Yeah.
I changed my mind. I'm so sorry.
John Cena, I think it was, had to apologize for suggesting that Taiwan was a country. He
He even apologized in Mandarin, correct?
In Mandarin, yeah.
It's getting Is that what they call situational ethics?
Mm-hmm. No comment.
I think
it's called covering your ass.
I think it's appropriate to have.
No comment.
I think it's appropriate to consider the situation in your ethics, but at the same time, you got to have a moral compass that stands up to the wind's breeze.
I'm prepared to have ethics, but as long as it doesn't cost me.
They're expensive ethics. They're so expensive. This looks like a Jeff Jarvis keyboard that makes my hands hurt just looking at it.
Yes.
That is terrible.
That sounds like
Isn't that awful?
It's ergonomic.
And it's like it's like real. It's being sold.
Of course it's real. Because that's good for you.
Oh God, no.
That's
ergonomic. I get a headache looking at it.
Just never move your hands.
It's the Salvador Dali keyboard. It's melting.
Yes. Yeah, it leaks.
It's leaking. Now I want to walk on tablet. I want to. It's the Angry Meow.
Or Mio.
Angry Meow's Amhatsu. It's a wireless ortholinear split ergo keyboard with an aluminum body. $1,600.
Oh.
Ortholinear.
It's ortho
I like it better now.
But it's wireless charging. But if you want, for an additional $380, you can get the company's CyberMat, which charges it automatically.
Ooh, nice.
Or you can buy batteries.
You can't put batteries.
And they'll throw in one of Amazon's robots.
By the way, it is Angry Meow as in cat, because look at their logo. It's a cat's paw. It's a cat's paw.
Do they have another view of it other than top down?
Let's go to the website. Maybe the Angry Meow website will have more.
Or Kickstarter. By the time we're done, Leo's going to buy it.
It's probably a Kickstarter.
Site's not coming up. We've slashed out. Oh, there it is.
Here we go.
Wireless charging, connect curve, split ergo. Oh yeah, you're right. That's painful.
Who knows? 300 people may like it.
This is a very personal decision, your keyboard.
Yes, it is.
What do you use, Ant? Do you have a special kind of keyboard?
I go back and forth between just a standard CyberPower keyboard and this MX keys from Logitech.
Yeah.
I do like this a lot.
Yeah.
When the Bluetooth acts like it has a brain.
This is an article from The Verge from last week. Designers spend months making custom keycaps. Then the counterfeits arrive. Talks about an artist named Olivia Briggs who designs these beautiful keyboards, the colors and all that. And then, of course, before she can even produce them, they're Chinese clones that are available. Would you like how about this? Would you like that with no letters on it?
Oh, I like that. No.
Isn't that pretty? It's art, a work of art, but I don't know if I could type on it.
No.
Yeah.
Who here is a touch typist?
Not I.
Nope.
None of you? Wow.
I look down every now and then because I have hotkeys for stuff. You know, like if I'm in Premiere.
I was stuck in the jungle gym when they taught typing.
I mean, I'm a touch typist in the sense that I touch the keyboard when I type.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
You know, there's some passwords I can't type if I look down, but I can type it with my eyes closed without a problem. I've noticed that.
Yeah,
but yet at the same time, there are certain, those F keys up there, I don't always know where they are and they're useful.
Nobody gets those.
I only use four fingers, but I can go really fast.
Because they didn't teach the Palmer method. My handwriting, my excuse was I moved in the middle of it a few times, and my handwriting is just awful. My parents insisted that I take typing lessons before the. You
should have become a doctor.
Yeah. Well, my family was all doctors before my mother married an engineer.
I was fortunate to have a computer in our home in my 10th grade on up, some old, I think it was a Packard Bell, something other. And it had a typing tutor on it. And I played around with that because it was like a video game. And 11th and 12th grade of high school, I took typing class, and I'm really glad I did, even though I was the only guy in there. Because when I went to college, I made extra money typing papers for my idiot teammates that didn't know how to type.
Smart. Did they do Mavis Beacon, or did you do something else?
It was something else. I did hear of Mavis Beacon, though.
Yeah, she taught probably more geeks how to type than anybody else.
I wrote papers for people, but they had to type them themselves.
You wrote them by
have
hand,
to use
long form, and then they had to type.
I did not have to use a typewriter for those classes, but my mother and grandmother had typewriters, and I did type on them just at my leisure from time to time. And that was the hardest thing, because it's like you need biceps on your fingers to type on those things.
I love this. The strongest man we know is complaining how hard it is to type. Oh, geez.
Maybe he doesn't do finger exercises.
Yeah, I don't exercise my fingers, man.
There's no lifting for fingers.
Jesus, Ant.
When have you gone to a gym and seen someone doing finger curls, man? Come on.
I do have a dream about. I want to get an old, like a really old, typewriter and hook it up to the computer. I know you can do that.
Underwood,
an old Underwood, because I've got a bunch of old Underwoods.
Nice.
So there's no real Mavis Beacon any more than there's a real Betty Crocker.
What?
What? The original photo of Mavis Beacon. Let me see if I can find one. Here it is. She's a Caribbean model named Esperance. But the name Mavis Beacon comes from talk show host Les Crane. Remember Les Crane?
Yeah.
Native.
No.
He discovered Esperance, Renee L'Esperance, and while he was shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. Les Crane was then a partner in a company called the Software Toolworks. He said, "We're going to take a picture of you, put your picture on the cover of our new typing tutor, and we're going to call you Mavis Beacon."
I hope she made money for this.
So we don't have to pay you.
Well, they paid her for her image, although, her image is on a lot of the boxes ever since. So maybe let me see if she's still.
I hope she got a royalty.
I hope she did.
Royalties.
Exactly. Yeah, see, she's still on the box.
$100.
She's still on the box. There she is. The anniversary edition.
$40.
Still sell it. They still sell it.
I like her real name better.
Yeah, L'Esperance.
Me too.
Isn't that great?
Way better name.
Yeah.
Here she is. I wonder if she could type. Wouldn't that be ironic?
Can now.
If
That'd
she
be
couldn't
hilarious.
type, I can't type, but I could pose.
I came across speaking of photos of people, I came across a fascinating story. I can't remember how long ago. A woman did a photo shoot and got paid for it. And then I think it was a couple of years later, her friends started saying, "I saw your photo." And she had become a stock photo. And so she showed up in like everything from, taco ads to and so she started seeing billboards of herself and, web ads of herself. And
she got like one check, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No royalties.
Wait here, Matthew. Pronounce TACO.
Taco.
What did he say? Taco?
He said taco.
Taco.
No, I don't think I did.
Canadian taco?
I don't think I did. I think if you rewind the tape, you'll find I didn't say that.
Check the tape.
Well, I'm just asking, is that the Canadian way to say it, or
Taco?
No, we don't talk about them up here.
Well, by the way, last week was it Today I Learned. I didn't know that in French, Vladimir Putin is spelled French fries and cheese curds and gravy.
Poutine?
It's spelled poutine in French. I did not know that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin. I'm going to call him Poutine from now on. That's good.
Poutine is delicious.
That's a popular name in Canada, to call him Poutine.
Poutine.
Just to make fun of him.
Fabrizio Rinaldi, I love that name, has created a new way to tweet typefully profiles. They give new life to your tweets and threads, turning them into a beautiful blog automatically, Jeff.
So you can do it right here in front of us. You can go to the...
Should I do it? I've set up my Typefully account.
I was going to start.
I didn't.
I've set up my Typefully account. So let's edit in high fidelity mode.
Dark mode, though. You're ruining it with dark mode. Jeez.
It's called Typefully?
Typefully.
Yeah.
Typefully.
It's not. It's. Oh,
I didn't want it to connect to my Twitter account.
Tweet.
I wanted to create an account just.
There are many like it, but this tweet is mine. I don't know. I don't get it. Did you put this in here?
Yeah, I did. Because actually, what it does instead is it imports all of your tweets and then makes them. You can put threads in them and make them posts and make them pretty. So I started doing it, and I got distracted.
Okay.
I should import my. I should import my tweets. I think.
Yes, that's what I was starting to do.
Let me press the import from Twitter. Loading your recently posted tweets and threads. Okay. So and then it gives you. It's just a better editor.
I think that's what it is, and a display. So publish tweet.
But this is 10 years ago I wrote this. I wrote, the first person who will walk on Mars is probably a high school student watching this right now. No more true then than it is today.
Tweet it. Tweet it.
Publish tweet. Okay. It's published.
Added to your profile. So now you go to profile.
There it is. 10 years ago today.
I don't really get it.
I don't get it either.
I put this here. I don't get it.
Let's view it on Twitter. Does it look prettier?
Well, not in dark mode. Nothing looks good.
Well, that's the original tweet. Apparently, I was using something called Usphora to tweet. I don't know what that is. Back in 2012.
Why did it pick that one up?
Well, nothing went out again on your feed.
Now I feel bad because astronaut Abby answered me 10 years ago. You should have me on your show. I will be the first astronaut on Mars. And I didn't pay any attention to her.
You never responded.
Look at you.
Oh.
And won't I feel terrible if she is?
She's an author.
She's an author. She's a scientist.
On Mars right now.
She's a pilot, an aspiring astronaut.
Leo.
And you ignored her.
And I just ignored her.
Tweet her back right now. Tweet her back right now apologizing.
I'm going to say, I'm sorry. I saw your tweet 10 years later.
Very sorry.
And,
please don't judge me.
What you doing?
What's new?
Hey. So it's funny because she does want to be one of those people on Mars. And you know what? She's probably going to. I'm gonna give her that.
She would have had a better shot at it if you'd made her famous.
I wouldn't even have known about it except for Typefully.
Is endorsing her in the
thank you,
chat room.
Typefully. She's a great follow on Twitter. Scooter X knows who she is.
Wow.
So I should tweet back and say sorry for the delay.
Yes, you really should. You really should.
I'm so sorry. I just now got your tweet. The mail's been slow here on Mars, I could say. Wow. No, that's embarrassing.
Have you seen the rover?
Are you on Mars? Did you get there? I could say that. Did you get there? I'm just checking back.
Fail.
Have me on your
She's
show.
living in a trailer somewhere. She gave up after you didn't respond.
Yeah. That's right.
No, she didn't. Far from it. She's done a lot more since.
She lost her will to live.
Yeah. So I don't understand Typefully at all. You put that in there. Boy,
I was going to look at it and I put it in and then a squirrel went by and then I didn't come back to it.
Yeah.
And so
that's pretty much the story of this rundown.
Well, it is. I got to say, I normally I think, well, is this for a top story? Is this a quick take? Now it was. Is this good enough for other?
It's just like a salad in here. It's just like there's fruits and nuts and flakes and I don't know what's going on. I could
Reddit's 5 community values. Now there's
all right. Are there 5 of them?
Published their 5 community values.
All right. Let's see what they are.
If you
remember the human. Remember the human. Empower communities. Keep Reddit real. Privacy is a right. Believe in the good. I like it. I'm going for it. I'll say, I agree. This is comes from Steve Huffman, who's wrote Reddit in the early days, founded it with Alexis Ohanian, and came back as CEO a couple of years ago. And I think he's done a good job. Reddit is still my favorite social media platform. I don't post there, but I read only. We respect Redditors. Well, that's good. Good for you, Steve.
And it's about to go public, I think.
Conde's going to spin it off, huh? That's interesting.
Well, Conde already kind of spun it off and created equity, but now they're going to actually go public.
Nice. Yep. TikTok can circumvent all the privacy protections on Apple's iOS, on Android. This is from 2 different studies that were conducted last year.
Didn't Trump warn of this?
Yeah, he was right. TikTok's owned by a Chinese company, ByteDance. This comes from The Wrap. According to summaries of 2 major studies obtained by The Wrap, conducted by white hat security experts that hack for the public good. It's interesting. The program's written in a kind of an unusual way that help it avoid code audits on the Apple and Google app stores. The research found TikTok's capable of changing the app's behavior as it places without users' knowledge, and utilizes device tracking that essentially gives the company and third parties an all-access pass to user data. This is highly unusual, they write, and exceeds the abilities of U.S.-based apps such as Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms. Frank Lockerman is a cyber threat engineer at Conquest Cyber, a cybersecurity firm who reviewed the studies. He said these dynamic properties, the way this is coded, allows TikTok carte blanche to access your device within the scope of what the application can see. The TikTok browser not only has access to convert from web to device, but also has the ability to query things on the device itself. TikTok says this is standard for social media apps, but both the researchers and independent experts who reviewed the research say the app's code makes it much harder to monitor. Consequentially, just because the app doesn't do something bad today doesn't mean it can't do or won't do bad things in the future.
You can say that about any app.
Yeah. Yep. Except that TikTok is apparently, if this is to be believed, designed in such a way that it can modify itself on the fly. TikTok says we work with the ethical hacker community through HackerOne, which is a bug hunt service. It's funny. I see these stories, and I just don't know. I don't know who this cybersecurity firms are. I don't know who the firms reviewing it are. I don't even know who the Wrap is.
Well, the Wrap is a Hollywood thing.
Yeah. So I don't have the expertise to really vet this. So I don't know. But I would hope. I mean, what happened to all of that? weren't we supposed to review this and the Commerce Department? Weren't they supposed to get back to us?
Yeah, it was December, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It all turned into
2020.
2020 turned into nothing.
Yeah, December 2020.
Oracle was going to buy them.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Smoke and mirrors.
We talked on Sunday, and I want to kind of keep aware of all of this. The U.S. intelligence community is saying we're okay. Mandiant, who consults on this, good security firm, said just keep your guard up. We're okay. But there's some concern that there'll be backsplash from the Russia-Ukraine war, especially with sanctions from the West on Russia, that Russia might use its cyber warfare capabilities against the West. And there's some concern, I think, that this could be the first cyber war. Russia has
When I hear stuff like that, I wonder, okay, who are they attacking? Are they just attacking SSA?
Well, there's lots of things they could do. I mean,
Aunt Pruitt in general.
Not you, Aunt,
right,
but maybe your grocery store or your power company or the stock market. They have these capabilities. They did a DDoS attack on the financial services in Ukraine last week. It's estimated 75% of all ransomware comes out of Russia. And the question is, does Putin know about it or not? Now he's going to hit me, isn't he?
Yeah.
Now I'm
Just
insulting
call
him.
them cheese curds and gravy.
Oh boy, my email just went down.
Yeah, sorry, Ann. So
My lights are flickering.
article in the New York Times this week about Kazakhstan. In Kazakhstan,
As a warning and a lesson.
as a warning and lesson, they blocked the internet. The government, in the face of rising protests over rising energy costs, blocked the internet. First, they tried to ban access to some news sites, social networks, and messaging services. Then, as activists bypassed those curbs with software that masked their locations, the authorities shut down almost all connectivity in the country. Payment apps, point-of-sales machines, ATMs, all going down. Families could not communicate with loved ones. Taxi drivers who relied on ride-hailing apps said they can't drive. It's impossible to communicate. The lack of information multiplied the chaos and disinformation, according to the New York Times. This week, the Ukrainian government said the websites of two banks, its Ministry of Defense, and its armed forces had been briefly taken offline by a series of denial-of-service attacks. That's kind of what Russia's been doing to the Ukraine for years, which is these little probes, not necessarily long-term shutdowns, but little probes, which our intelligence services say are rehearsals. So I just...
They also went after social media. When I went to Ukraine, Russian actors would use social media rules against legitimate actors in Ukraine and just mess with them to get them taken down off Facebook. Because Facebook didn't have people who spoke Ukrainian and understood the subtleties of it.
Yeah.
There's apparently quite a social media, front, effectively. The Russians using sort of dummy accounts and trolls and astroturfing. They're posting what appear to be faked videos of shelling that they claim is occurring.
Right.
By the way,
hysterical.
Matthew, are you, as a journalism man, are you as upset as I am that all the news networks are using Russian propaganda video as B-roll?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reprehensible.
Do they identify it as such?
Oh, yeah, it's a little tiny thing at top, but you don't know. Like, whoa, that's really going on. A lot of tanks coming in. Yeah, it's they could go to Bellingcat and get actual video. The people are really shooting in Russia. This gets verified. But that's
not going to get the masses to respond, Mr. Jarvis. That's not going to get everybody all concerned.
Cynical? And?
There was a little clip of these two Russian guys ducking and running and covering, and this alleged shell goes off, and it looks like a firework, like some kid basically lit off but they're pretending that, the whole town is under attack.
Well, that is news, isn't it? Anybody who's been in a natural disaster knows that it looks a lot worse on TV than it does. All right. I had something to be aware of, and we'll keep our eye peeled, but I wouldn't put it past Russians to do some sort of collateral attack on the West, a cyber attack.
Do you remember the story about the guy who was hacked by North Korea? So they took down their internet?
Yes.
That was a good one.
One guy took down the whole North Korean internet. He
Admittedly, they don't have the best. They don't have the best.
It's a little harder to take our internet down. Yeah. All right, let's take a break and come back with your picks of the week as we wrap the slowest week in history.
And we haven't even gotten to summer yet. This is scary.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it just sometimes happens. Maybe it's my fault. I don't know. I blame myself.
I think war has something to do with it.
You think that? Yeah. Everybody's
as always, I go through. I search on all the companies' names in news. I look at Axios. I look at Benedict Evans. I look all over just because this is my discipline to be able to keep up on technology news. And when I find stuff, I put it in the rundown. Irritating you. That's my fringe benefit, is that it irritates you. And so, I couldn't find a thing. It was boring as heck out there. What about you?
Jason says he scoured He's scoured. It's just been slow. It's not that much to say. That's okay. We don't have to always
make some stuff up.
Yeah. What do you think we've been doing for the last hour and a half?
Yeah, we go off on tangents about fonts.
I'm struggling. Struggling.
The more
normally Leo would have
better.
yelled at me for bringing in Nicholas
thank you.
1470. But no, today he was glad to have a few more words to fill in the show.
Yeah. I'm glad we had a keyboard that makes your hands hurt just looking at it. I'm glad. I tells you.
Yeah.
Thrilled. Couldn't be happier that we have a Twitter prettifier that doesn't seem to do anything at all except find 10-year-old tweets. I'm glad, I tells you. Thank goodness. Our show today brought to you by Imperfect Foods. Actually, Thursday is my big day. Thursday, our box comes from Imperfect Foods, and I just look forward to it all week long. It is such a great source of grocery. It's a grocery delivery service that's unlike any other. It helps you fight food waste. A huge amount of food in this country is thrown out or fed to the hogs or just, rotting on the vine because it's not perfect, because the apples are a little too small or the chicken's breasts are a little too small. In fact, I love my heritage chickens from Imperfect Foods. They're fantastic. Combating climate change feels big. It feels overwhelming. What can one person do? Well, you can start by doing your shopping with Imperfect Foods. They offer an entire line of sustainable groceries. It starts with the fruits and vegetables, stuff that is actually great. It's delicious. It's super fresh, but grocers just reject it because, all the apples have to be the same size or the pomegranates have to be as big as your fist. And so these just fall through the cracks. I think, honestly, a lot of times the smaller vegetables, smaller fruits are better tasting. They're kind of traditional. They're old-fashioned. They're not these crazy hybrids. But then there's more because Imperfect Foods also has all of the other grocery products you might buy. And you might say, well, what's imperfect about them? Well, there's nothing imperfect about any of them except that these are, again, overages. There's too much of them. People won't buy as many of the heritage chickens as they will of the big birds. Oh, man, we had a heritage chicken last night. It was so good. They got all sorts of stuff. Yogurt-covered pretzels with sprinkles, man. Eat delicious food and feel good about it. First of all, I should have said this right up front. Check to see if they deliver in your area. They do not deliver everywhere. Go to imperfectfoods.com and enter in your zip code. See if they deliver in your area. If they do, then you can personalize your weekly grocery order, fresh seasonal produce, pantry staples, yummy snacks. Your order will arrive on the same day every week. As I said, ours is Thursday. One of the reasons, actually the main reason they do that is to combine all deliveries into one so that they save gas as well. In fact, Imperfect delivers weekly on purpose by neighborhood to produce 25 to 75% fewer emissions than if we were all to go on individual trips to the grocery store. So it's the same day every week, which is great. You can go online. You can say, I want this, I want that, I want less of this, whatever. On average, Imperfect Foods customers save 6 to 8 pounds of food with every order. Food waste is a disaster in this country. So do something about it. Do something about it. Plus, you could say goodbye. I know one of the things I don't like about the delivery services, we had a grocery store. We used to get stuff from a local grocery store, and then would come with dozens of plastic bags. Say goodbye to packaging guilt. Imperfect Foods is the only national grocery delivery company that makes it easy to return your packaging after every order. I collapse the box, leave it on the porch. They pick it up when they come get the next one. They don't use a lot of plastic. It's cardboard boxes. They make it as simple and easy as possible so you don't feel guilty about wasting packaging material either. They take it all back. Right now, Imperfect Foods is offering listeners 20% off your first 4 orders when you go to imperfectfoods.com and use the promo code TWIG. We've been very happy. We've been doing this now for some months. Very, very happy. Love the broccoli. I don't know what it is. Their broccoli is so good. 20% off your first 4 orders up to an $80 value, imperfectfoods.com when you use the promo code TWIG. Their hamburger, we only use their hamburger now. It's incredible. Join the movement, imperfectfoods.com. Do use that promo code TWIG to get 20% off your first 4 orders, up to an $80 value. Imperfectfoods.com. I think they're perfect, personally. I think they got the wrong name. But I got the idea, imperfectfoods.com. Remember that name, and please use the promo code TWIG so they know you saw it here. Matthew, did we steal one of your picks of the week? Well, you got two. Actually,
yeah, I've got two.
I want to talk about the first one because we talked about the marshmallow test on Sunday, coincidentally.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So apparently, it's bogus?
Yeah. In fact, one of the guys who was involved in the original research that led to everyone thinking that would, determine your child's life was involved in this attempt to replicate the research, and it appears to have no predictive value whatsoever.
So tell us how did the marshmallow test work?
So the marshmallow test, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but the sort of short version is you would ask kids,
4 and 5 year olds, little preschoolers, yeah.
Do you want a marshmallow now, or you can have 2 marshmallows when I come back? And then the person would say, I'm going to leave the room. You can have a marshmallow now, or you can have 2 when I come back later. And the theory behind the research was kids who said, no, I would like 2 later, were better at sort of thinking about the future instead of just wanting marshmallows now. And that translated into more success and more sort of, that they would have better lives. That
translated into crypto miners.
Yeah, right. The context we used, I think it was Amy Webb used it on Twit, was just this idea of delayed gratification, that we're not very good. Right. We're impulsive. Give me the marshmallow now. I'm not going to wait for 2. But that hasn't been debunked. Just the idea that that's predictive on the outcomes as kids grow up of what they're going to be like. The original study said kids who couldn't hold out long generally grew through their teens, 20s, and 30s quicker to frustrate, weaker in academic and social skills, more drug use, mental health, and weight issues. No, not true.
It says kids who quickly gave in to marshmallow temptation and said, give me the damn marshmallow right now, are generally no more or less financially secure, no more or less educated or physically healthy than their more patient peers.
No relationship with BMI. What?
Marshmallows suck. Any kid who wants a marshmallow has no taste.
You know what? They should have used something really good.
They should want Reese's
like candy
Pieces.
corn.
No, that's different.
Oh, Reese's Pieces.
Crack.
Yeah,
candy
there's
corn.
a real
crack.
test.
Give them some crack. See how long they hold out. Yeah, now we're talking. Initially, the study wasn't to see the longitudinal effects, right? Mm-hmm. They were more interested in how kids managed to defer the gratification and things like that. And I think some of that stuff is still
applicable. The interesting thing is this is kind of dictated, or it's been a shorthand for 30 years. It's not like this just came around.
There's so much like that.
Yeah.
In social sciences, there's so much, the Dunbar number, and I mean, there's all this kind of, and people like Malcolm Gladwell who made, millions writing books with really kind of flawed, assumptions and things.
Do you remember
extrapolation from?
Do you remember Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, that doesn't exist either.
No, so that was. I read this long piece debunking it. The whole concept was invented by a cop who was mad that the hostages wouldn't turn in their
Holocaust stuff, right?
No.
People who were it was bank robbers, I think. But he was just mad that these female hostages weren't cooperating with him, and so he effectively created this idea of Stockholm syndrome.
See, they were held hostage for 6 days, and so his theory is, basically because they were held hostage for 6 days, they became loyal to the hostage taker. But really, it was just they didn't want to talk to him.
It was Patty Hearst.
Was it Patty Hearst originally, or no?
It was an argument.
That was her. The argument for her. Later.
Yeah.
So that's not true either.
No. Nope.
There's probably a lot of that stuff out there. But don't use marshmallow test. Moral panic.
All moral
panic.
I'm too slow on it.
Yeah.
There you go. No, it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick.
There's whole books written on this stuff, and wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Jarvis, do you have a number for us?
So, everybody thinks the kids today are just dumb and they do all these stupid things on TikTok because somebody tells them to do stupid stuff on TikTok. But Lifehacker put together a nice summary of dumb things that we did in our day.
13 challenges that prove older generations were as stupid as TikTok teens. And streaking was big when I was in college.
It still goes on.
Did you?
Yeah, we had mass streaks. This is at Yale University, freshman year. The entire freshman old campus took off their clothes and ran around naked while the campus cops tried to do what? I don't know. Stop it. And in fact, I got caught.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
I'm running around naked.
Mom?
I'm running around naked. Well, no, wait a minute. And I see that they're starting to bust people. It's just I ran into my dorm building, Durfee Hall on the old campus, start running up the stairs. Here was my mistake, tactical error. I thought on the second floor, I'm safe, so I stuck my ass out the window. I thought I'd moon the cops. Gave them enough time to catch me. But then they made a tactical error because they asked me for ID. And
I don't have any.
Your Honor, I am naked. And as far as you're concerned, I don't even go to school here. Thank you very much.
I could be anyone.
So, yeah, you're right. I didn't need TikTok to do something dumb.
So what's next in here? Evel Knievel. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, jumping over. But they're still jumping over
whole
buses.
city.
We used to eat Tide Pods, I remember.
Yeah. Flagpole sitting. Well, that goes back to stylites and back into the Roman era, ancient Greece.
Yeah.
Goldfish swallowing, or I think next is going to be phone booth stuffing, I'm guessing. Here's the streaker at the Oscars.
Speaking of marshmallows, do you remember the Chubby Bunny Challenge?
No, what was the Chubby Bunny Challenge?
So I had never heard of this, but a couple of people have actually died stuffing their mouths with marshmallows. And you have to try and get as many in as you can.
I'm telling you, marshmallows are awful.
And then say Chubby Bunny.
Peeps.
People have died doing that?
Chubby Bunny, yeah. Because they suffocate, basically. It's not good.
Peeps.
So don't do it.
Peeps?
Isn't it Peeps here?
Oh, panty raids. Remember panty raids?
Panty raids. That was
panty
one of the
raids
dumbest,
was big
most
in the
sexist,
50s.
horrible things there was.
Yeah, young men, usually, frat boys, running around, trying to get into girls' rooms and take their panties. I remember those. When I was a kid, we lived in the female dorms at Brown University. Brown University at the time was segregated, and we lived where the women lived, and there were constant panty raids. Constant. No, I had nothing to do with it. I was only 8. The jaw wiring challenge in the 70s and 80s. People were wiring their jaws. I remember that to lose weight. That was a terrible idea. The limping challenge, adopting a bizarre fashion because someone famous did it first. Back in the 1860s, women from London to Edinburgh began limping. They called it the Alexandra limp because Alexandra of Denmark, the pride of the Prince of Wales, was left with a limp by an illness in 1867, but because she was so famous and stylish with her ornate walking sticks, others copied her.
Nice.
I did hear once, I don't know if this is true, that's why Castilian Spanish has a lisp.
Really?
Because the monarch
had a lisp.
I've always wondered that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the genesis of that.
Like the marshmallows things, it's going to prove not to be true, but you've always believed it, but that's okay.
Yeah. Is it true, according to The Guardian, is it true the pronunciation of Spanish changed because the king had a lisp, so the Barcelona It is widely told but cannot be genuine because if it were, S would be lisped as well, but only C and Z are.
Good point.
Good point.
Great point.
It's because they speak Catalan, and Catalan does not have a K. It's pronounced as a Th. So that was, yes, another apocryphal myth.
Nothing's true. I'm telling you.
Nothing is true. What else? I'm going to go back to this challenges from Lifehacker. You know that Gina Trapani founded Lifehacker. So we're allowed, we have a license to quote.
That's right.
Quote Lifehacker, yeah. The macaroni challenge, that's from Yankee Doodle. Stuck a feather in his cap, called it macaroni.
Macaroni was very bougie food.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's the phone booth cramming challenge. People actually did this. They tried to get as many college kids in a phone booth.
Say, what's a phone booth?
No.
They would still be doing that if they could get a phone booth.
No, that's where they have the Wi-Fi today.
Oh, yeah. All right. That's the phone booth stuffing challenge. Oh, yeah, of course. Dance marathons.
I think people died doing that, or at least became...
Oh, yeah.
Became kind of a sick...
They Shoot Horses, don't they? Remember that?
Right, exactly.
Movie with, was it Jane Fonda? Was in They Shoot Horses, don't they? About dance marathons. The poison eye drop challenge. Let's not...
I don't think I want to know about this one.
That's using belladonna. Anyway, there you go. 13 stupid things previous generations have done, even without TikTok, so there's no excuse.
See? Yeah.
Aunt Pruitt, what's your thing?
I don't remember.
It is the Andy Cine Magnolinium case.
Yes.
What is this?
This came from that rascal known as Oh Doctor. I was talking
to
Doctor.
Oh, yay.
Andy seen Lunchbox. If you have an Atomos Ninja video monitor
those are very good
externally.
Yes.
Well, if you need more storage, you probably have something like this here. I have this Samsung T5 SSD.
I have one of those. Yeah.
Ridiculously cheap per gigabyte versus everything else that's out there.
Yeah.
Well, you can cannibalize one of these and put it in the lunchbox and mount it to the back of your video monitor to give you way more storage to record raw footage.
Oh, so you would hook it up to your Atomos.
Yeah.
Ah, smart.
You just take it out. It's got a little video there. You just take the...
Is that a proprietary interface on the Atomos? Is that why you have to buy something?
No, it just uses the standard
USB?
SSD stuff.
Okay, cool.
But I saw that and I was like, dude, that's brilliant because those Angel Bird cards, they're expensive.
Yeah. Do you have an Atomos Ninja?
SSDs.
Do you have one of those?
No, I don't. I don't have to worry about recording raw externally as my camera does it internally, so I'm fine. But I know a couple people and they bought all of those Angel Bird cards and they spent $1 gazillion.
Yeah. And
then they lose one.
If you've got one of those Samsungs, this thing's only $30 as the case.
Yep.
I could scavenge. I have some old Samsungs I could probably scavenge.
It's pretty slick.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great idea for $30.
Nice pick.
And lastly, because, I'm always late to watching all of the hot television shows that y'all have probably seen a gazillion times, I started watching Welcome to Earth on, I think it's Disney Plus.
I haven't seen it either, but I've heard very good. This is Will Smith's show, right?
Yeah, with Will Smith. I started watching it like 2 weeks ago. I turned it on one Saturday afternoon.
Oh, no, I can't watch. Oh, I'm so scared of heights.
Oh, no, it's great. I turned it on one Saturday afternoon, and I had to stop it as soon as I turned it on because I was like, my family's going to sit down and watch this too. It's beautiful. The sound design is great. The story is great. I was like, we're going to wait until it's dark and we can turn all the lights out and have a nice theater experience with it.
I'm so jealous of Will Smith that he gets to do stuff like this and he gets like paid for it and like that's so jealous. That's so cool.
It's a really, really good show. Really well done.
Yeah, really neat. Welcome to Earth. I'll watch it. Thank you for the recommendation.
Was it Disney Plus? I can't remember.
Disney
it's
Plus.
one of those
Yes, it's Disney Plus. Yeah.
Did I watch now? Are we done with People in Heights?
You better not. No. He's climbing down a glacier right now.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's a long way down. Oh,
are there any bridges in this?
No, that's the worst part.
Yep.
They don't have no bridges. You just got to go, man. You got to walk across.
Mr. Jarvis, they went up a dadgum volcano that's just
Stop it.
just making so much noise and rumbling.
Dadgum volcano.
And one of the guys going up the volcano is blind.
Jeez.
Crazy. It's such a good show.
So I am ordering this, so I won't have a review yet, but this is a little $350. The Zoom is doing better and better stuff.
Yeah.
I got the podcast, the P4 podcasting thing for my kid, but I'm thinking I've got microphones. I should just carry this around. It's the size of like an Altoids tin. It's got two mic interfaces, small enough you could strap it to your boom or, put it on your camera even. See, there it is, right on the back of the camera.
You know that's going to sound good.
They have very good DACs, very good amplifiers. Obviously, microphone not included. Runs on 2 AA batteries, 8 hours of recording time. I think this is really an interesting idea.
Oh.
Yeah, you could wear it on your wrist.
Wear it on your wrist.
Yeah.
What's the price on it?
$350.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm more and more thinking about how I could do what we do, kind of on the road, on the fly, traveling around and stuff like that. And I think this would be a good thing to have in my kit with a inexpensive, like a Shure microphone.
Yeah.
It uses micro SD cards. So you can record hundreds of hours worth of stuff on a SD.
Those are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
If it were for the size of the plugs, it'd be even smaller.
Yeah, I know. It's the plugs. And I love this. There's an actual waveform, real-time waveform on the front. So you can see also it has anti-clipping technology, so you can't overdrive it. So you can see the waveform as it's recording, which is a really great way of doing that instead of meters.
I like that price.
Yeah, I'm all about audio, as you know. And so this would be cool. This would be cool. Zoomcorp.com, not Zoom the conferencing software.
A little confusing.
Yeah. You can also use it as an audio interface into your computer. So if you want to make your mic a USB mic.
That's the thing, because their previous models, I think like 2 models before that, they were great, but after I think it was about 20 minutes or so, you had issues with drifting.
Yes, that's always a problem, isn't it?
Regardless of how you set it up, as far as the frame rate, it just still continued to drift. So a lot of people went away from it. But that looks.
This
legit.
apparently has some sort of time code system in it, which would help with the drift. I can't remember. I remember reading about that. Let me see if I can. 180 hours of recording if you got a terabyte SD card. So these cards get bigger and bigger.
Man, anyway. AA batteries.
Well, I ordered one, so we can. The other thing I ordered, Doc Rock pick of the week from yesterday on Mac Break Weekly. I think you'd be interested in this. It's a device that you attach to your camera via USB, and it'll work with your cameras. Works with a big variety of cameras. Let me see the name. I'll look it up because I can't remember.
He always has nice pick.
Was it Doc Rock? No. Oh, shoot, it's not in his picks. Maybe he was just talking about it. What was the name of that thing, folks? Do you remember what he was talking about?
Chat room says.
Yeah. They're emptying your trash. I can hear it in the background.
Yeah, I'm trying to mute it. I try to mute it.
Oh, well. Oh, what was the... Oh, well. Anyway, I'll save that for another day. When it comes... Then it's better. I can show you and all that stuff. I'll show you the F3 when that, or the
cool.
F6 F3 when that comes. Thank you. You survived 2.5 hours of nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Hey.
Some reward for the people who made it all the way to here. We're saying, you're a schmuck.
You all
for
get
still being here.
marshmallows. Marshmallows.
Don't
You
eat
get
too
a
many of
marshmallow,
them.
and you get a marshmallow, and you get a marshmallow.
Look under your seats. There's a marshmallow.
Stuff your cheeks with them. Thank you, Matthew Ingram. I really appreciate your being here.
Good to see you, Matthew.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Good to see you guys too.
Thank you for helping us survive this long march. I appreciate it. CJR.org, anything you want to plug? Anything you're up to these days you want to tell us about?
No, just CJR and Twitter.
Are you going to Perugia, Matthew?
I am. Yeah.
Wow.
You are.
I've decided not to.
Yeah.
So it's on.
Yeah, I just can't. It is on, at least for now, and until another variant comes along. Yeah, I just can't.
Good.
I can't.
It's a magnificent event. It's the best event of the year. Nicest people.
Yeah, it was the highlight of my year, and not being able to go. I know lots of other people have been through much worse things than not being able to go to Italy, but I just can't take off another year.
When is it? Is it next month?
Nice.
April.
Oh, spring in Perugia. The International Journalism Festival.
Yeah.
What fun.
And then I think we're going to go down to Puglia for a few days.
Oh, great food in Puglia. Oh, look at that. Well, have a good time.
That's amazing.
Have a good time. We'll be thinking about you. Suffering in Perugia.
Have some cacio e pepe for me.
The real deal. The real deal.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarvis is the Townite professor of blah, blah, blah at the blah, blah, blah. Graduate School of
It's the end of your
Journalism.
week, man. You're pulling it through. You're almost there.
Just don't know what he
10 more
does.
steps, and you're there.
Without my cheat sheet.
It's okay. Never mind. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. No, don't do it.
I don't know what happened to it.
No, don't do it.
Oh, Jason took it after All About Android. He took it home with him. Yeah, Jason was actually in this chair. That's what happened. He says, what a pigsty this is. Laporte's let this go to hell. I'm cleaning up. I'm tidying it up. Anyway, great to have you, Jeff. Anything I didn't know you did the Pete Dominic that everybody should go hear
great, yes,
Pete Dominic stand up?
And I did Odocta, which last week I mentioned, but it wasn't up yet. So now it's up. So we had a great time chatting. I got to ask him all kinds of questions.
He says you turned the tables on him.
It was a good show.
IQMZ.com.
Great.
So did he give you any secrets? We don't know anything about him. you realize that it's just
he talks about his daughter a lot in his own podcast about that.
Yeah,
so we talked about that a fair amount.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely we'll go listen to that for sure. Doctor, and he was our guest in our Club Twit not so long ago.
No.
Oh no, tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, sir.
Oh my gosh, it's coming up.
February 24th, 9 a.m. Pacific time for our Club Twit members in Discord.
We have some big events coming up.
And we're going to do an AMA.
So get your questions in there. Stacy's Book Club is March 24th. Paul Thurrott will be the guest at the end of March.
And there's one more March event that I need to add in there. Mr. Sargent, he might have more to say about it, but we're going to put one more event in there.
Nice.
I think it's the 19th, but I have to double check because I was off yesterday.
Details to follow. Details to follow. If you're not a member of Club Twit, it's like, why not? It's getting more and more fun. You get access to our Twit Minecraft server. You get free down, $7 a month, but then ad-free versions of all of our shows. You get the Untitled Linux show, this week in space. On our Twit Plus feed, there's a lot of content from before and after the shows. In fact, we'll put Jeff's entire jingle up there. $7 a month. That's all it costs. And it helps us greatly because, times are a little tough.
Nice and fun people
these days. And I think it's good to have the audience supported. Ideally, I'd love to be a fully ad-free network, but we got to get more of you to join. twit.tv/clubtwit. I will give you this pledge. If we can get only 10% of our audience to join, we could go completely ad-free for everybody.
But the ads are coming back.
Sort of.
Well, I'm just saying we talked about it theoretically.
In theory. Oh, you're right. Yeah. In about 5 years, everybody's going to say, that model Leo had, that was a great model. It's too bad he didn't make it. Too bad Spotify killed every podcast before we realized that's what we needed.
Yeah.
Anyway, $7 a month. It's worth it. Twit.tv/clubtwit. It's Pigeon Talk on hands-on photography this week. Twit.tv/hop. Tell us about what's Pigeon Talk.
Well, it's not pigeon like you, Mr. Linux, are thinking as far as it being the cross-platform messaging.
Oh, wow. Very good.
It's not that. No.
Very good.
It's a photo service that's trying to compete with the likes of Instagram. And yeah, it's interesting. That's all I'll say on that. But this week's episode is dedicated to the loyal hands-on photographer listeners because I'm going through some images from the Sunrise Photography Challenge. So people sent in their images, and I'm going to show them off with their consent and talk about them and share my 2 cents.
This was the product Doc Rock was talking about. The other doctor was talking about. Thank you, John Gerard and the club, for reminding me of the Arsenal 2. Are you familiar with this?
I am. I remember that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so they have a new one. Anyway, I ordered it. It's a Kickstarter. When I get it, that's another one I'll lend you, because the idea is you could do all sorts of interesting things by mounting it on your camera.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see. Thank you, Ant. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Matthew. It's great to have all three of you. Couldn't do this show without you. Couldn't do it without you, our fine listeners, either. If you want to watch us do it live, watch the show sink into the sunset, as it were. All you have to do is tune in about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC of a Wednesday afternoon or evening. Live.twit.tv has all the live streams, audio and video. People who watch live like to chat live. There's 2 ways you can do that. The open chat is irc.twit.tv, open to all. You can use a browser. You don't have to have an IRC client. And we have our great Club Twit Discord. If you're a Club Twit member, you can chat with us there as well. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show at twit.tv/twig. There's a dedicated YouTube channel. And, of course, the best way to listen is to subscribe in your favorite podcast player. That way you can get it automatically and not even have to think about it. And if you do subscribe, leave us a 5-star review. Let the world know about This Week in Google. Stacy will be back next week. So will all of us. So say us all. We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.
Android is constantly evolving, and if you're part of the Android faithful, then you'll be just as excited about it as I am. I'm Jason Howell, host of All About Android, along with my co-hosts Florence Ion and Ron Richards, where every week we cover the news, we cover the hardware, and we cover the apps that are driving the Android ecosystem. Plus, we invite people who are writing about Android, talking about Android, and making Android onto the show. Every Tuesday at twit.tv, look for All About Android.